to ask if you've experienced so and so is still what has been obtainable. At our airports, are we safe? The different messages from the Ministry of Health, the federal government, that there should be no panic. I mean, that they're on top of the matter. Yeah. What do you say to this? 158.
Well, in as much as it's scary, and it's very unfortunate. I've said it before, and we've been saying it over time. We have refused to become a process system. We just do like a jungle. We don't have processes. And I've been, when you hear some people's argument, they say when you go to other Western world, you don't see anything physical. But because they've gone database, they have their data so they can work, and they have their technology.
Yes.
I think it was Senator Borough who said when he went to South Africa, they were being tested from the aircraft. But when he got to Nigeria, he was handed a paper to fill in his details. So he just tells us where we are, but we will get better.
Now the whole system seems to need an overhaul. Now we've come to accept the fact that we have more powerful personalities than our institutions. How do we begin to address this and correct this, Moses?
My brother, I will tell you, I will always come here, I will tell
At
you
least let's have the system function,
No.
regardless of fact.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
The system cannot function if you don't have a functional head. You need a functional head for the system to function. The system is driven by a head. Yeah. Like we are here now, there are people behind the scene pressing some buttons for people to hear us and to see us.
Yes.
Now, what has the president addressed us on this issue? It shows that the government is out of touch with reality. We can sit here and say all we want to say for how long. It shows that we are being governed by people who are out of touch with reality. If the head is not functional, the system can never be functional. Let's stop wasting our time.
Oh, let's go to the Vanguard quickly. And in the Vanguard this morning, minimum wage, industrial unrest looms in varsity, and petrol subsidy cost drops 22.5% as federal government spent 43 billion naira in January. Fresh Kaduna killings, no negotiations with terrorists, bandits, says El-Rufai, as Buhari vows to punish culprits. And still on the novel coronavirus, 58 under watch in Lagos, Ogun. Italian, 70% stable. 19 cases in Lagos, 39 in Ogun being watched, says the NCDC. And Osun government reverses Aregbesol's education policy. Ex-INEC chair Iwu claims curve for COVID-19. And IMF World Bank pledge assistance to COVID-19 affected member countries. And also, Agbawu sues Oluo, demands 100 million naira in damages. And that's it in the Punch newspaper. Our security challenges seems to be every day the new happenings. And Kaduna State again has expressed another attack. One would think, you know what, we're making headway
with bandits.
Yeah, you see,
the recent Kaduna killings and the rehabilitation program going on and radicalization of those insurgents.
It's really unfortunate that this is happening in Kaduna again. If you recall that there have been several mayhems and killings in Kaduna over the years, and we thought it had gone down. But like he said, you don't negotiate with terrorists, you don't negotiate with armed bandits. They're supposed to face the full wrath of law.
Yes.
He's not only in Chad. I think it was last week Friday in Egypt. Some Islamic, what do you call them now? Like Boko Haram's family in Egypt. I think 32 of them were sentenced to death. But here in Nigeria, on the floor of our Senate, that's what we're discussing, to give them Western education, to foreign education.
No, we have, they call them repentant, rehabilitated, de-radicalized, already being sent back into the community. I mean, how much of a danger does this pose to our national security? How much of a threat is this? Because we have them constantly being thrown back into the society after the rehabilitation program. Moses.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. These guys released right now, they are sleeper cells. They are sleeper cells. And they can be reactivated anytime. See, this government is not sincere. This government is not sincere. Absolutely. These guys should be in jail, or they should be executed, or they should be made to be in jail working and producing things for people to consume. If we are in a serious society, these people should be, you cannot take arms against a state. Look at IPOB, for instance, now. They have been proscribed. Yes. These guys haven't taken arms. People that have taken arms, you are granting them amnesty, and you want to take them abroad and give them and train them with taxpayers' money. See, let me tell you something, my brother. This government is up to something. They are not telling us the truth.
Is there an alternative? Is there an alternative to this present move of de-radicalizing and rehabilitating and integrating them back reintegrating back into society?
The alternative, see, there is no alternative. If these guys are Boko Haram's, if these guys are Boko Haram members, yes, it's either they are jailed for life or they are executed. There should be a law like that. If they are executed, it will be a deterrent to other people. Because right now, I can go and claim a Boko Haram and they will take me to maybe Singapore or somewhere and train me, and I will get a better education, and they will be paying me stipends. So it is a business. It's a lucrative business. Yes. And this government should tell Nigerians what is going on, because they are not sincere with us.
Do you subscribe to Moses' thought on this?
I think I agree with him on some of his thoughts on this government being unsincere. Yeah. Because the truth is that you cannot be telling us on one hand you're fighting insecurity, and on the other hand you are embracing it. But let me give you a quick example. I think it was in the dailies last week. The Bauchi State government. The Bauchi State government came out and said they're not able to pay for the WAEC exam for the students. And I think it was on Friday that the students took to the streets. The secondary school students in Bauchi State, they took to the streets. They took their own. I was happy with that, because I want Nigerians, I've always said it, the people need to take their future in their hand. I'm not saying fight, but make it known that you're not in agreement with what the government is doing. Okay, you could not pay, I think, 600 million naira for all the WAEC exams, but the same government appropriated 3.6 billion naira for cars for the government officials. It's not making sense.
All right, let's quickly move to this day. This morning, the first headline in this day newspaper: with planned demilitarization, NSC to unlock Nigeria's growth potential. And also, Buhari offers solace as bandits kill 51 in Kaduna. Coronavirus: Nigeria places Italy, Iran, South Korea, Japan on watch list, tracing 156 co-passengers of infected Italian. Caution school against forcing students to wear face masks. And Fire Me orders screening of passengers at motor parks. And again, Supreme Court adjourns EADR's judgment, reversal application hearing. Let's spot on this a little bit. The EADR stuff, how do you see it's panning out at the end of the day?
Well, right now that we have international scrutiny on this particular issue, because the U.S. is interested and some other foreign bodies are interested. Yes. You know, I don't think the leadership of the Supreme Court will have the moral rectitude, the moral strength to do what. I hope. Let me say, I pray they have the moral strength to do what is right.
What is right for them to do? What is the right for them to do?
Yes, number one, INEC is the body that is saddled with the responsibility of supervising an election. Yes. And you cannot dismiss their submission on a particular election and then you superimpose your thought on that election. Yes, sure. By dismissing INEC submission on Imo's election shows that you have undermined the institution called INEC.
Absolutely.
You in the presidency, you upheld INEC. And you said there is no server. And now, when it comes to Imo State, you are undermining them and saying they did the wrong thing. So you cannot be speaking with both sides of your mouth. Yeah. So I expect that the Supreme Court will be humble enough to say there are two grounds. INEC said this is not right. Yes. You are saying INEC is wrong. And the total number of accredited voters was more than the number of the vote casted was more than the number of accredited voters. Yes. So that is where we are expecting those technicalities that the Supreme Court will be able to do what is right.
Do you see this panning out this way, Femi?
Well, if our Supreme Court wants to regain, or the judiciary wants to regain its once lost trust and belief, I believe they should do the right thing. And like he said, and remember when you said from the beginning of this discourse this morning, you said why our institutions And this, he just gave one a good example by the Supreme Court undermining INEC in its own area of competence. Because INEC is supposed to be the umpire of the election. And I keep saying it, we don't have democracy. If we keep going to court to go and get judgment, that means sometimes the people are shortchanged. The wish of the people is not coming out.
Now, gentlemen, I mean, this is it. I mean, what's the way forward in all of this issue, the insecurity bedeviling our nation, as I said, the killings ongoing, the coronavirus? There seems to be a whole lot a nation is trying to grapple and deal with at this point in time. Moses, your final thoughts this morning?
My final thoughts. The Nigeria as a country has failed, and there is a need for all the interested parties to sit down and discuss the continuous existence of these.
Interesting parties mean who? Nigerians, and who will represent us? People have said a referendum. Are you one of those that's subscribed for a referendum?
Whichever means, whether through a referendum, yes, or through adopting the confab we've held in the past, yes, you understand me? We need to sit down and ask.
What happened to that confab report and submissions?
No, some people are not happy with it, so they will not want it to be enforced. So what we need to do is, my brother, we need to sit down and talk to ourselves. Just as I was talking to him off camera before we came on set, we need to sit down and discuss this artificial union called Nigeria. Is it working, or should we seek a way to either reorganize this country or disengage this country?
Femi,
okay,
that's for this morning, please.
What my own is slightly a bit, what he said is a long term, yeah, but on the immediate, and I will call on Nigerians, we need to put more pressure on our legislative arm, which is the Senate and the Federal House of Rep. Yeah. Nigerian Constitution, they said they've set up a review committee. That constitution must be reviewed. The
1999 Constitution?
Yes, because it is not people's constitution. That constitution is not even for a federal system. It's for a unitary system of government. So if we don't get that right now, for the people to be determined, which will now lead us to what he's talking about, the people will determine how they are governed. The people will determine their own future. We have kept Nigeria in the hands of a few for 60 years, and this is where we are.
Femi Adegoke, public affairs analyst, thank you very much for joining us. For all the press and political analysts, Moses Nnaikpe, thank you very much for your contributions this morning.
You're welcome.
I hope we do the right thing, because Nigeria is at the brink of implosion.
Thank you very much, Moses. And that's all we can take this morning on All the Press. Join us again same time tomorrow. This is Plus TV Africa, and I am Benny Ark. Good morning.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright. music, and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal eye.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Today we are back again in the slum of Ajegunle, where we bring you incredible stories. First of all, when we hear about the slum, we think of places where people live in abject poverty, dirty areas, and people in deplorable condition. And for the most part, that's what the situation is everywhere in the world, in Africa and even in Nigeria. But today we're bringing you a story of this place. Here in the school, Morris International, where school fees are being paid with PET bottles, such as the ones I have in my hand.
We don't want any excuses for not paying your child's school fees. Your child must come to school. So we came up with this initiative. And these are plastic bottles that we've collected, and more will still come to the school. These are the plastic bottles. We collect cartons too, paper, cans, aluminium cans, carton, even pure water sachet. That's a bag of pure water sachet over there. So we exchange this for school fees because I want to see, I have the passion to see that these children learn well. We use British curriculum in the school. That is why it is called an international school. So we want these children in the slum that are less privileged, sort of, from low-income families, to enjoy education that the elites enjoy in the society too.
We are here today because we have a project we're running in partnership with the Morris International School, and that is the Recycle Space educational project. It's a project because it's something we want to do for the community, it's something we want to do for human lives. And the beauty about the Recycle Space project is the parents are involved, the environment is involved, the school is involved, the recycling firm is involved, and everyone has a way of trying to connect with the whole idea. And so for us, we kickstarted this project sometime last year because we came about a report that was, I think, released by the World Economic Forum that said in a few years time to come, in the ocean, you're going to find more plastics than fishes. And that means that we need to start thinking of what we can do with the plastics, something productive, so that we don't end up having more plastics in the ocean than the fishes. And also, we also came about a report that was conducted by UNICEF that said that Nigeria is currently #1 when it comes to the numbers of children that are out of school in the world. That figure is alarming.
Our school fees from play group to nursery 2 is 4,000 naira. Then our basic 1 to basic 6 is 5,000 naira. Timely.
So what are your thoughts on what you people are doing? The fact that you're collecting plastic bottles and sachets for school fees?
Looking at our streets today, it's very dirty and you see plastic waste everywhere. Then we think of, okay, why not we ask the parents to be part of it? Picking plastic, we call the ACI to pick it up and weight, talk about the kilo to pay their school fees.
Sometimes I go pick them, I will go sell, I will bring and come here, and my mom will use and manage because things was hard. Things they very, very critical. Nobody, no helper, my myself, now only me and my mom. So they knock hand to hand to take. Even the children, papa self has since come like say they bother them say una pikin una this thing. I say okay. At least they say single mother they take care of him pikin. Anyhow, even anything I fit do, I take care of my pikin at least before uncle come bring the pay. And true, when he bring the pay bottle, it was okay. I was very, very happy because he relieved me for some kind of things, many things. Thinking of my pikin school fees, I wonder, my pikin books, I wonder. He relieved me many, many things because uncle self through the pay bottle self, himself assist me. Picking the pay bottles, I will advise a lot of people. I will tell them say e pay because if you no pay me I no go do am, which I still dey do until now.
Children of Morris International School knows about recycling well. Imagine if everybody is speaking these things around them. We'll have less waste around, and this program is a sustainable program. So you imagine this in the drainage to cause flooding. We've helped the earth, we've helped their environment. In fact, Mother Earth is happy with the school for what we are doing.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
All right, country people, I greet you on top this very o'clock when Mr. Nate join us for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This is not the terrorism Mr. One Sama given my name, I promise, Nero. They say the presidency don't talk as they're not happy for the latest bandit attack inside Kaduna State. When we say they take keep plenty people and when we say plenty others, don't take injure. As they say criminals, no go fit set the Buhari administration up. Gabasho when we say the senior special assist to the president for media and publicity talk this one for 1 year inside Abuja on Monday. The presidential waka person, quote Oga President Muhammad Buhari, he said don't assure the people of Kaduna State and other parts of the country, said the government could continue to carry all available resources to fight this cold-hearted bandit with waka to bring them to their knees. The president when say the Trowe battalion with the victims of the Ubunge attack attack people inside Kaduna State. He said one strong one he go meet the killer say they no go fit dey lucky all the time. The National Christian Elders Forum NCEF yesterday talk as a not take happy for the plenty security when we see they happen for the country. Summer battalion gave it before Oga of State General Yakubu won before President Olusegun Obasanjo and General Theophilus Danjuma to throw away wetin they make them vest for one corner and shook mouth for Christian matter. The NCAF talk this one for 1 year when we say they throw away. After one meeting inside Lagos when we say the Shemo Solomon Asemota sign. The Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Hajia Zuwaira Gambo, on behalf of the state government, he received about 25 repentant members of Boko Haram insurgents with their wives and picking them from Maduguri. The repentant insurgents dropped their arms, give the troop inside Niger Republic. They land inside Maduguri International Airport with military aircraft and they can go Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center. The coordinator of the Safe Corridor Program, Major General Bamidele Shafa, when we say they hand over the repentant insurgent, he said the federal government Operation Safe Corridor Program, he go treat the before insurgent them. He still encourage other insurgents for the bush to surrender. Ajia Zuwaira Gambo when we say the young give talk men as they receive the surrendered Boko Haram. He said the rehabilitation center don't ready to rehabilitate and de-radicalize the returnees and still give them all the support and education and the psychosocial support before they reunite them with their families.
Open hand to drop their weapons and embrace peace for the betterment of all of us. Thank you. And God.
They are Nigerians first and foremost. And they are Nigerians that have decided to behave according to the dictates of our constitution and abide by the rules and laws of this nation. They have lived out of the shores of this country and have been brought here to be reunited with their families. So ours at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center is to provide them with the psychosocial support, to feed them, to clothe them, and give them some basic form of education on behalf of the government of Borno State. This is a center that His Excellency the Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, gives so much attention to and provides us with the necessary support to ensure that these guests are rehabilitated and given the required training in various skills and then reunited with their families.
All right, the person when say join us for studio now, one of our political analysts, Moses Enakbe, and he gets something to yarn on top the matter. All right, Oga Moses, you don't hear the story when I just threw away just now about the repentant Boko Haram when they say they won't bring back to the society. They say that they treat them, they teach them things when they say it will make their life better. What you get to yarn about the matter and say they want to bring them back to the society?
Well, this matter, Nigeria will never get the technology to monitor people like that.
Okay.
You know, because right now, you bring these people in, how you want to monitor their waka? How you want to take the torchlight, waiting they do and waiting they know they do? Because right now, these soldiers, where they fight these people, they are losing their lives.
Okay.
And you come now, you say they are repentant. and you are bringing them back. You see, even in the United States, they not. I never heard this kind of thing before. You don't negotiate with terrorists. Once you decide, say you want pick arms with say you want fight a state, now death warrant you don't sign now. Okay. It's either they lock you up one place where you no go see light again, or then buy you.
Okay, now two things.
Two things. By so doing, the other person will not go think, say, make me I go do the same thing. Okay. And recently, those people where they pay money, where will they waste our money for, where they say they be our senators. They say they want to do one program where they go they carry these same people, go they give them education abroad. Okay. You sure say this waka na welcome develop? No, which can welcome now? Now bye develop now. Okay, so you no support them on your own. Anybody will get sense, no go support them, because why? We not get the technology to monitor these people. Okay, they won't be saying they don't get the technology, yes. But it better say they feel help those kind of people come to society again. No, put them one place. Okay. Confine them in one place. Maybe they produce things. Maybe they sell them out. They pay them. Put them in one place. Those kind of people now, they're not supposed to live with normal human being. Okay. Aside, say we get all of us get personal sentiments. No be send me. I know they talk with sentiments. So apart from that, what if you say this rehabilitation, when they bring them back, so what it go benefit the society? Nothing. So you don't get what they go gain from these people. Say okay, they no go back again. No, see how it go be. Nothing. These people, make I even shock yourself. These people now where they don't bring back, so now what they call a sleeper cell. Okay. Now underground army that they can be activated anytime. Okay. I tell you. Now underground army will be activated anytime. Okay, which kind of bad thing you feel as they come back, so if you say they feel do again? Because as you talk about activation, meaning say they feel go back to their old ways now. So which kind of bad thing you feel say they feel do? Which bad thing did they do before? Now you go answer this. No, you ask me, I ask you, waiting carry them go where they go before. They say that they keep people now. And the same thing they go do. So meaning say they go they keep people now. They talk. No worry down, no worry. Okay, no worry. So it look like say this bill when be say it never be law, but it could be like say they don't start to do the work. What will be your take for inside the matter? In fact, it just be say this our country. We know if we recall our senators. We know if we tell them say make them come back. We know want make you help us. Make you no work for us again. Number one, I want to ask the question. Those soldiers' children, where die, where their papa die, because of these same boys. They don't send them go abroad, go school. Okay. Even our local school for here, they don't pay their school fees. Most of them, their wife, they don't pursue them come out for barrack. Okay. One. Number two, the people where they IDP camp, where these boys don't kill their papa, kill their mama, they don't carry all of them, go keep one place. Then they will be say toilet no day. They will be say money they give them to chop. Some big people for government they chop them. Okay. Waiting the government, why the government don't use that same money go send those children go school? What is there special about this Boko Haram? I mean, are these politicians' children? I don't understand though. I mean, they work for these politicians. Okay, as you don't say you don't support this move, so what will be the move when if you say they feel do? The move where they're supposed to do be say. Once they see you say you be Boko Haram or you are a bandit, not to once a competent court, you understand me, don't condemn you. It's either you go live imprisonment or they make a law to execute you. But they surrender, and I believe say if person surrender, meaning say he no want go back to what they do again, and you no go fit do them anyhow, immediately don't surrender. Okay, he surrender. Yeah. Put them for somewhere. You understand me? Monitor them for over a longer period of time. Okay. Maybe for like 10 years. Put them for somewhere. We say they go they produce things. Okay. In China, most of the things what they use for this, where people they use for the world. Now prisoners they produce them. Okay. So thank you very much. You don't tell us now. Say what did they supposed to do for those people head now just to put them to contain them in the place like as they contain all these coronavirus people. Okay. This one a virus. You're supposed to contain them somewhere. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Oga Moses. When I say it shook matter on top this matter, people they watch us and they really listen to what you talk. And I believe say the government say they watch us and they go do something about what we just talk. So.
All right, they say the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, they say they don't carry personnel go the notorious Abuja-Kaduna Highway. Does it say the safety of motorists and communities when they say that they along the road corridor, they safe? The state commandant, Kaduna Babangida December, he threw this and give talk men inside Kaduna when we say the state capital as they mark the 2020 International Civil Defense Day with the theme Civil Defense as first aider for every home. Oga Dusema said the state command ready to combat kidnappers and bandits from the popular highway, Kwata.
Of personnel to Golden Acres, located in kilometer 52, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, and Operation Thunder Strike and Operation Yagi, among others, are intense security, which is yielding gradually result, and even though much is expected from it. But from the little contribution we are able to make, people of Kaduna State could testify that we are making a lot of impact. Statutorily, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is tasked by law to provide 24-hour surveillance on critical and national infrastructures to prevent same from activities of the vandals.
Let's say the Vice President Yamoshi Banjo say they will soon develop better ways to check the way when we say small and light weapons take the plenty. Osipradio Talk man Laolu Akonde for 1 year next on Monday, he said the Vice President meets with top security chiefs and members of the Presidential Committee for Small Arms and Light Weapons, PRESCOM, for the Presidential Villa Abuja for the last National Security Council meeting. Oga President Muhammad Buhari, we don't tell the Vice President, make it be shemo from one committee to touchlight the report of the PRESCOM when we say them start for April 2013. The Supreme Court to carry their hearing go until Tuesday for one applicant when we say make a head of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). If I say made a touchlight the judgment for the Imo governorship when we say that they declare Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress (APC) winner of the March 9, 2019 election. A head and the PDP don't meet the court after the Apex Court on January 14 say he no win, and they can say now Uzodinma be the winner of the election. They say Rex and National Commissioners of INEC gather body along with the Commission, Shemo Mahmoud Yakubu, inside Lagos to touchlight one new legal framework for 2023 elections. Our talk person, Mary Shinda, when said that the INEC retreat, they get the yarn.
Like 1 year so after 2019 general elections, the elections have been men don't gather together for Lagos so as to fit ginger for a bigger eye inside waiting on Igbo called electoral legal framework. As the INEC Chamo declared the meeting open, he can make them clear, say the commission get them from mind to put all hands together inside the suggestions of the 2019 Election Act Amendment Bill from the Senate Committee on INEC, so as to make the polls they credible ahead of 2023.
The Commission's input is not limited to the review proposed by the National Assembly. As election managers, we conduct elections. We also monitor pre-election activities such as party primaries and handle post-election processes, including the outcome of litigations. Therefore, we must, at this meeting, cast our nets wide by dissecting the Electoral Act in the light of experience and proposing wide-ranging amendments that will give the nation an electoral legal framework that can truly protect the choice of citizens and guarantee free, fair, and credible elections.
As Wasi Ondo and Edo state elections go sub for this year, November, the chairman Choyani say he no go happy at all in case any form of gbege starts, what they call electoral violence.
For as long as violators of our electoral laws are not penalized, we'll continue to have issues with our elections. If you take a place like South Africa, for instance, they have what they call the electoral courts. Violators are arrested and instantly prosecuted. But in our own case, committee after committee have recommended for the enactment of a law to set up the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal.
And as it hot, one of the Bagan agenda are the many collabos and get-togethers we go sup between INEC and the Senate Committee. We suppose start on the 5th of March.
The Disability Rights Advocacy Center, DRAC, don't call on Nigeria people, made a change the way when they say that they see the people when they say they don't fit use all their body to do everything. The Oga of Drag, Irene Patrick Ogbogu, he gave Talk Men for 1 2-day training session of media practitioners for the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls when they say they don't feel they use all their body to do everything. Mrs. Patrick Ogbogu say they get negative stereotype for these people with disabilities for the public space, especially for their sexual orientation and sexual wants.
The purpose of training the media is so that they can reach the people and let the people know that they need to stop discriminating against persons with disabilities. They need to support persons with disabilities in the attainment of their sexual and reproductive health and rights. They need to also be a voice, to join the advocacy for inclusive health services, access to sexual and reproductive health for persons with disabilities, especially women and girls, and generally to end discrimination and reduce all forms of violence against persons with disabilities, especially women and girls. There's this notion in our society that persons with disabilities are asexual. This means that they cannot have sex or they do not have sex or sexual feelings. And this can be quite detrimental and counterproductive because it affects the way we view them. So you find areas where a woman with a disability, for instance, is sterilized because she's had multiple pregnancies in a number of years, and so the doctor on his own decides to sterilize her and cut her tubes without her knowledge, without her consent, just because they feel like she shouldn't be having sex, talk less of getting pregnant.
Tunisia don't confirm their first case of the new coronavirus, and the health minister Abdelatif El-Maki, he took this one for a news conference inside Tunis. The health ministry say the patient, now a 40-year-old Tunisian man, who say show back from Italy, and they say they still confirmed 2 new cases of novel coronavirus infection inside Algeria. The 2 cases, a 54-year-old woman and a 24-year-old girl Pekin, where say that they stay for the northern province of Blida, some 50 kilometers to the southwest of the capital city, Algiers. There are 2 tests positive for the new coronavirus after they show back to France on February 21st. All right, the next one, foreign news. Onto foreign, they say Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he don't win for Israel general election after the election put him ahead of his main rival, Benny Gantz. 3 projections give Netanyahu right-wing party 36 or 37 seats, and Gantz a centrist blue and white alliance between 32 and 34. But the election shows say Likud and their right-wing allies fit fall short for one majority for parliament. Monday election and Israel third election for less than 1 year. The 2 main party, Oga, no fit command one majority for the 120-seat parliament for the last 2 rounds. Health officials talk on Monday say the new coronavirus sickness don't kill 6 people for the C2 area as authorities across the United States they ginger to prepare for more infections with one worker to carry the testing capacity go front. Dr. Jeff Dushin, who be health officer for the C2 and the King County Public Health Agency, he talk as people when they die to go up from the before to inside the Washington state. She talked for one news conference, say 8 of the 14 total cases for in jurisdiction, they linked to one outbreak when happened for one nursing facility inside the C2 suburb of Kirkland, when 4 people when die, then join.
Unfortunately, we are now starting to find more COVID-19 cases in Washington that appear to be acquired locally here in Washington. And we now know that the virus is actively spreading in some communities here in Washington.
We want to get our testing capacity as high as possible. I said to the people around this table that I would like to have a goal of 1,000 tests per day.
We're also moving with maximum speed to develop therapies so that we can help people recover as quickly as possible.
All right, the next one, our business news. And for business, they say oil price go up for the second day on Tuesday for expectation. Say central banks fit put financial growth for balance of putting the coronavirus outbreak don't cause, and a growing confidence say OPEC will order deeper output cut this week. Brent crude go up with $1.26 per barrel or 2.4% to $53.16 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate go up with $1.24 or 2.7% to $47.99 a barrel. Meanwhile, Brent and WTI don't bounce back somehow for the past 2 days from more than 20% drop from their 2020 peak for January, when we say they signed the coronavirus spread, when we say cause, when we say don't affect fuel demand. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on Monday say they stand gidigba to help member countries torchlight the human and economic challenge of the coronavirus outbreak, when we say they work anyhow through emergency funding. For one collabo, when we say they say the two joint body say they focus especially for poor countries where we say health system they weak, and they tell member countries to strengthen health surveillance and response system to contain the spread of the virus. The statement say international cooperation are what they need to deal with the health. Now British singer, songwriter Ed Sheeran, and followed by rapper Post Malone and teen singer Billie Eilish, when we see they take the top Grammy Award for January. Queen, the rock band, when we see they formed inside London from 1970 for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And go make better sense when I subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We see the summer and plenty other to read them as time they go. My name na Promise Nero. And I thank you now to join us. Well done.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
To the lowest level you can.
This is Plus TV Africa. The big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika is a Nigerian business mogul, author and motivational speaker. She was born in Ibadan, capital of Oyo State, and is the third of 7 children. She attended St. Paul's African Church Primary School and Methodist Girls High School, Yaba, and obtained a degree in chemistry from University of Ife. She is an alumni of the Chief Executive Program of Lagos Business School, the Global Executive MBA of IESE Business School, and Global CEO Program of Wharton. Ibukun worked as an audit trainee at Akintola Williams & Co. during her National Youth Service Corps. She moved on and became the founder and CEO of the Chair Place Group in 2004, a conglomerate which encompasses the Chair Center Limited, Sokwa Chair Center Limited, Furniture Manufacturers Mars Limited, and TCC Systems and Services Limited, specializing in the manufacturing, retail, and bankway security system services. Ibukun serves on a number of corporate and non-profit boards, which include Chairman of First Bank Nigeria Limited, Member of the Board of Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Fund, and former Chairperson Board of Trustees of Women in Management, Business and Public Service. She chairs the board of After School Graduate Development Center. She's a multiple award-winning entrepreneur and the first Nigerian recipient of the prestigious International Women's Entrepreneurial Challenge Award as a nominee of the United States Department of State in 2008. Ibukun is an author of The Girl Entrepreneur and Business His Way. In her leisure, she loves to watch investigative and legal series. She is married to Abiodun Awoshika and they are blessed with 3 sons. And this is The Mogul in 90 seconds.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns,
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
In a world of overwhelming voices, where everyone has something to say,
it is important that we bring the core issues to the fore.
As we lend our voices to inspire, inform, influence, and provoke your thoughts and action.
We want to hear these issues and know what you are saying. This is not just women talking.
It is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
We take on topics some may consider taboo and want to sweep under the carpet.
We understand that what touches one touches all. We know you have a lot to say, so let's hear you.
Many thanks for joining us on the show today. This is Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa, the show that brings out the juice and the stories breaking in the world of sports. I've got Sarafina Napoleon on the show today, and I've also got Okpeoluwa Adebari, and we'll unbundle the stories right here from everything going on in the world of sports from last night, and of course to look forward to what will happen later today in the world of sports. Good to have you here, Sarafina.
Hi, good morning to you, Doka. Thank you for having me.
I love your hair.
I really don't get this I love your hair thing, because this was the hair I was wearing last week when I came.
Yeah, but
here.
it looks different.
Because I had to style it in a different way today.
Yeah, so why do we have to see different? Women know how to be very creative with hairstyles. Unlike men, when we have a haircut, it's that way until we have the next haircut.
I think my mood determines how I look. Yeah, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like doing anything, so I just decide to just go with that look. When you see me, you're like, something is totally off with Sarafina, so that's it.
So what mood are you in today?
Super excited.
Super excited. Should I ask more questions?
No, please. You don't want to know.
Okay. When she says that, we need to run away. Well, good to have you here, Adebari.
Thank you very much. That was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, and Sarafina, Adebari is an Arsenal fan, and whenever anything good happens to Arsenal, he celebrates. And he was also, I think he threw a party when Watford beats Liverpool. As an Arsenal fan, I'm wondering, what are these guys really celebrating?
Unbeaten run, that's the only thing they have right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they cannot win the league, they cannot win the FA Cup, they cannot win anything, so they can't even win the Europa League.
So the only glory they have is the unbeaten run.
And just leave it for them. It used to be the top four,
yeah,
but it's no longer the top four. Now it's just unbeaten. So, and talking about Arsenal, the one club jersey I can never put on is an Arsenal jersey. I can never do
Shots
that.
fired.
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
Shots fired.
3 words.
Yeah.
For invincible is untouchable.
Wow. Okay. We'll get to talk about Arsenal later, but let's talk about the news that broke last night concerning Lobby Stars. And we learned that the team bus carrying players back from Ilorin went up in flames, and many sustained injuries while trying to get out through every available window or door. And the cause of the fire is still unknown. We tried reaching the chairman of the club, Mike Idoko, to no avail, but I'm sure we'll get through to him much later and know the cause of the fire. Now, my major concern, yes, the team bus got burnt, and I'm glad none of the players, none of the team members we didn't record any death in that one, so thank God for that. But yes, how players get to travel from point A to point B to play a football match really amazes me. We've seen this happen over time in the other leagues. Some of them have customized buses, well taken care of. Some of them even fly to match venues. But right here in the MPFL, our players travel by road, and we know how the roads are totally bad. And some of these buses, I don't know how much of checks they put on these buses to know if the buses are in good condition to carry these players. I've been fortunate to see one of the team buses, I can't remember the club now, and it was looking so bad. And I'm wondering, why can't we even take care of our players? Why can't we take care of our clubs and the Nigerian Professional Football League?
First of all, I think I'll have to go the usual line. All glory be to God that it was not worse than what we saw last night. But then again, you look at our league, we're not there yet. It's still, for me, I think it's still work in progress. Definitely we'll get there. You want to compare our league to the top leagues in Europe, talking about the Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, and the rest of it. They all started from somewhere. For them to get to the present state they are at this point is as a result of what hard work and a lot of investment. You give it time. But the only problem we have right here is the fact that even with the time we've given into our league, we are yet to actually see traces of progress. Yes, that is more reason why we see away victories and we are super excited, simply because we are not used to seeing these things happen in our league. And it's down to the fact that, how do you explain that a team will be traveling all the way from the northern part to the eastern part by road, and you go away from home, you get that victory, everybody is happy. Simply because we know the condition of the road. In short, I'll tell you that 60% of our teams, they go by road from one part of the country to the other part of the country. So it's something that we really need to pay attention to. And I really will not blame these clubs for wanting to go by road to different places to go play games, simply because of the fact that, one, you want to ask about funding. How is that? Is this are these clubs properly funded?
Yeah.
That is one big question, because you cannot take away the money from football. Football and money, it's all about money. If you want the sports to grow, you need to invest money in it. And how do you invest this money? It's the bigger problem. This is a league where most time we've seen cases of players coming to complain of being owed salaries, and the rest of it. So it's just work in progress. I just hope that someday we'll get there.
Hoping that someday we'll get there, because we keep talking about the Nigerian Professional Football League and the marketability of the league. If companies can come in to sponsor or own some of these clubs, I think some of these problems will be at a reduced level. We've seen clubs like Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, and the likes being they are a marketable club. Now, how many clubs in Nigeria Professional Football League are sellable? How many of them would command huge profit for businesses in Nigeria? I think it's really, really on the downside. But if we begin to look into this, I think it will be a way to also boost the Nigerian league.
Yes, it will be a way, but then you need to ask yourself a question. What do they stand to gain?
True.
What is the state of Nigerian football currently, not just in terms of the quality of football, but what goes on off the pitch, the security of the players, the well-being of the players in general, and talking about sports as a business in Nigeria? What do they stand to gain? They would have tabled all these factors and looked into it, and they'll try and weigh their options and see what can happen. What value can they add? Basically, what can they gain from it as well? So it's not just about trying to improve the state of the football clubs and football generally in Nigeria, but then they also need to have something that they are going to gain in return.
I just hope that we'll get there someday, where we'll have a bigger league where money will be flowing from left, right, and center, and these players will surely be happy playing football in Nigeria, and of course cases like this will be reduced. Now from there, let's go over to what's happening. Of course, still on the matter, we'll get to talk to the chairman of the club, Mike Idoko, to let us know, give us an update of what's happening, and the players who have sustained injuries, if they are being taken care of presently. Now let's go over to the deadly coronavirus that broke out. That was last month. It was first discovered in Chinese village of Wuhan late December last year, and it has caused chaos in the world at large, proving to be a mass destructive weapon. And the deadly virus has eaten almost the entirety of the world in economy, religion, education, and sports. And our focus is the sports world and how it has been affected by the deadly virus. Now, a lot of sporting activities have been postponed, but the big question, Sarafina, is focusing on the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. They are not even saying that it will be postponed, or any sort of information has been given on that, but what we're hearing is it will go ahead, it will go ahead. There's no fear of the coronavirus in Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and I'm wondering, why are they going on with this?
I think, first of all, we need to establish the fact that in life we all live in uncertainty. We really don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. So the organizers at this point, they know that, okay, this thing is we've established the fact that there is actually coronavirus.
True.
But we're also not going easy on it. We're trying to make sure we get everything done, trying to make sure that, yes, coronavirus is in town, but we're going to try and see how we can put preventive measures on board. Because you look at Tokyo 2020, it's going to be a huge blow if it doesn't go on. That is it. But in as much as you want this competition to go on, you also want to look out for athletes that will be coming to participate, looking out for everyone. It takes a lot to organize just a 3-day competition, let alone for talking about the Olympics at this point. So I totally understand where the local organizing committees they've been coming from keep saying that the Olympics will go on. We all are still hoping and praying that before then we must have been able to get the cure, if possible, know how to curtail the whole coronavirus thing. Yeah. So that's just the only thing we're praying for and hoping for at this point. But whether you like it or not, the thing is coronavirus is here, and it's actually costing a lot of people. Because as a sport person, I remember the game between Juventus and Inter Milan. At first, there was this story that it was supposed to be played behind closed doors, and before you know it, they decided to postpone the game, which I am in total support of it, because you cannot have a game as big as Inter Milan versus Juventus looking at their standings on the table, and you would want to play it behind closed doors. It's not going to work.
True.
So that is it. So they are trying to make sure they put everything into place to make sure that the tournament goes on. For me, I have this positive feeling that Tokyo 2020 is going to be a huge success.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in spite of the coronavirus.
You know, I'm looking at it from this angle. Yes, it's one of the biggest sporting events ever. It's the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And if the coronavirus situation still goes on till that period, I fear that it might be cancelled, because if you go on with the Olympics, imagine the number of people who will travel to Japan, Tokyo, to go to the venue of the Olympics. Imagine if there's any reported case of coronavirus breaking out at the Olympics, of course.
Now, it's a 50-50 thing. The coronavirus is here, but then again, the tournament is later, months later from
Definitely.
now. Yeah, so I think it will be out of place if the organizing committee comes out and say, simply because of coronavirus, this tournament is not going to hold. Because they still have months to curtail, and if possible, bring an end to the whole coronavirus thing. So I think that is the reason why they are really not saying anything about it being postponed. Because definitely, if I think the Olympics should hold between June, July, to the end of June to July. Now that is a long time. In as much as you want to say, yeah, it's just a few months from now, but anything can happen within split second. Now this is me looking at it from a different perspective at this point. Now, you look at the preparations and everything. Tokyo 2020 is going to come, and if by June there's really no progress as regards how to curtail the virus, then and then they can actually say, okay, we're going to put this on hold till whenever we're able to get everything under control. So for now, it's going to hold simply because we hope that before then if by June nothing concrete comes up, at that point, then they will know that, yes, because you know one of the reasons why they cannot come out to say it's not going to hold is because of the fact that some teams are yet to qualify. We're still seeing qualifiers ongoing. So when you come out and say it's not going to hold, then what will happen to those qualifiers?
Exactly.
So why not let these qualifiers take its due course? Then after the whole thing, when you're setting up the number of teams that will be there, and if nothing happens, then you can decide to say, okay, we're putting it on hold, or we're going to go on with the tournament.
Now, talking about the qualifiers, a couple of those qualifiers have been postponed as well until further notice, of course, until there's an information that there's, and I heard this morning that there's a vaccine that can actually cure the virus, but it's still being reported, not confirmed yet. But I just hope that we get things in order, and for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, it goes on as planned, and we have one of the best Olympics ever. And yes, we're supporting Team Nigeria, and I have to be patriotic in this one, that will go there and win a couple of medals and come back home as champions. But I know that in football, we're not represented in that one. And boxing is still shaky. If the Boxing Federation get their act together, the boxers can actually travel by May to France to seek qualification for the Olympic tournament. Now let's go over to Everton and talk about the boss, Carlo Ancelotti. He has been charged by the English football governing body for misconduct after he was sent off in Sunday's fixture against Manchester United. That game ended 1-1, and the Italian approached the referee, Chris Kavanagh, at the final whistle after Dominic Calvert-Lewin's late goal was ruled out for an offside. And for Ancelotti, he will not get a touchline ban, but will be fined £8,000 if he accepts the charge before Thursday's deadline. Now, this game ended 1-1. And I watched the replay of that late goal over and over and over again. I'm not a referee. I'm not a video assistant referee as well. But then, in my own opinion, I think that goal was a clear goal. Why would you rule it off for an offside? Because the player who was on the floor took his leg off the ball when the ball was deflected by Maguire into the net. And I'm wondering, where did they get this call right or wrong?
I feel they got it wrong because he was not in obstruction of play. He saw the ball incoming and immediately he went away. You know, he was down because of a collision, trying to lace up his boots and get back. He saw the ball coming. He made way for the ball. So he was not obstructing the ball in any way. So I believe
he wasn't obstructing the goalkeeper as well.
He wasn't obstructing the goalkeeper either. So I believe that was a wrong call. And I believe that is another case of human error from VAR. Now, after the review, I expected another official statement letting us know that, okay, you know what, we are wrong. This is as a result of human error. But you know, after what happened with Giovanni Lo Celso a few weeks ago, I believe they'll be thinking to themselves, you know what, we fell short a few weeks back. Are we going to be falling short again? And this now brings more question to the validity of VAR. You know, the fact that you have a referee at the back looking at the screen, we're still prone to human error.
True.
So then what is the use of VAR? And you know, the VAR rules are so stringent with offside especially. A lot of ridiculous things. Your nail could keep you offside. Your armpit could keep you offside. And it's really starting to harm the game. I believe they need to take a look at this again, review, and come back with better rules that will suit the game, because they're taking a lot out of the game, especially when it comes to celebrations as well, killing the vibe of the game, which is not needed. So I feel like FIFA need to review VAR.
Yeah, very true. It needs to be reviewed. And that game, I think, for Everton and, of course, Ancelotti, it really hurt them the most because they thought they ran away with that victory, but, of course, ended 1-1. But to me, honestly, I think the VAR generally needs to be reviewed, and the referees need to be allowed to look at the side monitors. I don't know why they would not just go to the side monitors to look for themselves and make a decision.
There's this popular saying in Pigeon Palace, they say that a person when no girls ban, no fi girls ban mama. When the whole VAR thing was being introduced, at first I said, it's going to be a huge problem because, first of all, the referees in England, they're nowhere.
True.
So when you bring in these referees and you bring in this technology, how do you expect both of them to work together? That is the problem, because I really do not understand how you would want to justify the fact and say that that goal would not stand. Yes, I'm a Manchester United fan, but I will not support that, because the said player was on the pitch, was on the floor.
Yeah.
David De Gea was standing. So how would you say he was obstructing? He was covering the vision of the goalkeeper. Now, that aside, I've always talked about the fact that the VAR in England is probably suffering from low battery or something.
Wow.
Because I don't understand why you see one call happen in this game, they call it this way, and in the next game it's different. And the interpretation of VAR in England is different from Spain.
True.
So how do you balance it up? I think the problem has to do with England, not just VAR, because the more we keep talking about VAR, I think it makes it look like VAR is the problem. VAR is not the problem, but the way it's being used in England is the problem, not the VAR, because we've seen this in VAR in the Champions League.
True.
We've seen it in the Spanish La Liga. So why are we not getting the same complaint from the Spanish La Liga, just the same way we are getting the same complaint in England?
In England. Well, I think the FA needs to review this at the end of the season and make sure that things are being put in place, because yes, the VAR, we could have a couple of errors in other leagues, but it's not as rampant as we have it in England. So at the end of the season, I think they should go back to the drawing board, look at the VAR and the operators, and find a final means and, of course, a way to make things work for next season. Now, still looking at England, of course, let's go over to the FA Cup and look at Arsenal. They defeated Portsmouth in the FA Cup by 2-0 to qualify for the quarterfinals of that competition, and Sarafina has made it clear that Arsenal will not get to win this FA Cup.
They won't. I'll say it over and over again. They will not win it.
In as much as the fans yesterday, they were singing, we're going to Wembley, we're going to Wembley, and I'm wondering, which of the Wembley are they going to? There's still Chelsea, there's Liverpool, there's, of course, Newcastle United still in the mix in that one, and Okpa is still hoping that they can go to the final of this one and win this tournament.
Well, okay, let's be honest. Let's take aside the fact that I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm looking at the team performance. It wasn't the best, to be honest, because that's a Premier League team versus a League 2 side.
When you use the word wasn't the best, I think you're trying to sugarcoat it. It was poor.
Okay, yeah, you can say that it was poor.
You can cut them some slack because they were teenagers playing that game. It wasn't the #1 Arsenal squad that we see on a regular basis.
True, but then you still had some first-team footballers in the team, like, at the back. You had Pablo Mari making his debut, you had David Luiz, and you had Socrates also. But nonetheless, it should have been much better. I mean, even if they are kids, that
compared
is
to a League 1 side.
Compared to a League 1 side, it should have been much better. They didn't create as much chances. They didn't hold the ball as much as they should have. And even when they did create chances, they didn't take all their chances. But nonetheless, they were able to score 2 goals and move on to the quarterfinals. Fine, let's see what they can do at the quarterfinals. And hopefully, the tie is favorable for them, and they can move on.
Well, if you want to beat the best, you need to, of course, if you want to beat the best, you need to beat the best. So no favors for Arsenal. You need to go all the way tooth and nail all through till the finals, and you get to win this one. Then you can say you're worthy winners of the FA Cup. Well, Socrates Papastotopoulos scored the first goal, and Nketiah scored the second goal for Arsenal to ensure victory over Portsmouth. Looking at the other games that we played later today, Chelsea versus Liverpool will go down today, and that's a big one to look forward to. There's Reading versus Sheffield United, and it'll be West Bromwich Albion taking on Newcastle United. I know for Chelsea and Liverpool, I'm not expecting anything less than a cracker from this one, but we're not sure of the kind of players that we'll see in this encounter.
Yeah, when you mentioned cracker, I had to give you another look because with Jurgen Klopp, you're never sure of anything.
True.
It's obvious, the league, number one, the Champions League, number two, those are the two trophies that if you ask a Jurgen Klopp to pick, he's going to pick, okay, this is what I want this season. And we've seen it over and over again happen. I remember before the winter break, he said he's going to allow his players to go enjoy the winter break. That's going to feed whoever is going to feed in that previous game before the build-up to this one. Yep. Now, it shows you something. Now, Jurgen Klopp might just wake up this morning and say, okay, at this point, I want to go for the UEFA Champions League. I already lost the previous leg, the first leg away at Atletico Madrid. I would want my players to have enough of rest, and whatever happens at the end of the day, I'm going to take it like that. So let me just bring out whoever I want to feel that on this one. But then again, you also might want to look at it from the angle that, yes, it's sure that I'm going to win the Premiership. What stopped me from adding another domestic cup to that one? So it all depends on the starting lineup we see tonight. The players Jurgen Klopp will decide to field against Chelsea tonight to a large extent is going to determine if it's going to be a Liverpool win or not. But for me, I think if I get to see the full squad of the first starting 11 of the usual Liverpool side we used to see, I think it's going to be a walk in the park for Liverpool.
A walk in the park for Liverpool against Chelsea. But of course, it's football, you never can tell. And of course, for Jurgen Klopp, is an unpredictable coach. So let's see what he puts out tonight against Chelsea. Now let's wrap up with boxing, and it's all about the heavyweight boxing, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder Part 3. It's not like a Hollywood movie because Deontay Wilder would not just learn a lesson. The first bout, I think he lost it, but of course it ended in a draw. I'm not sure we have anything like win or draw in boxing, but of course it was a draw in that one. The second rematch, of course the first rematch, we saw Tyson Fury beating Deontay Wilder, blue, black, all colors of the rainbow. Now Wilder has said he wants a third try to fight against Tyson Fury. But before we talk about this, we went to the streets to ask people what they thought about having a rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Let's listen to them, and when we come back, we will talk about the big fight coming up in June.
Okay, Wilder, for me, I think Wilder's been running from really worthy opponent right from time, and I think WBC has been shielding him and giving him opponents that they felt okay, that he could actually match them. The last fight between Fury and Wilder, it was a draw, and for me, in my own opinion, I felt Fury won that match, but then it was a draw, and then the rematch now, we all saw what happened. So I feel Fury was better.
Well, it's going to go the same way. I believe Tyson Fury will still win again.
No chance for Deontay Wilder?
I don't think so.
Tyson Fury already won the match. I don't understand why Wilder is saying he wants a rematch. I mean, it wasn't just a win, it was a beating. I mean, the guy's face was shifting like this. He gave a decade, as in so many memes. I just woke up the next day. I didn't even know about the fight. I just woke up, I started seeing memes. Guy, where they don't turn you into comedy. Why you won't go do rematch again? I bet maybe fight Joshua. I bet we'll come Lagos, come fight, maybe go host time. Maybe Nigeria too sucks we get international event.
A potential rematch for Tyson Fury is something I really do not want to happen now, but I'm quite sure if it happens, Tyson Fury is up to the task. The only thing Wilder has is his right punch, and he was able to just disqualify the old right punch idea. He stood all through the fight, the rounds, to just change that narrative. So I don't know what else Wilder is bringing to the ring.
So definitely Wilder has no chance against Fury.
He has no chance. His leg is going to wobble again.
Wow, his leg will wobble again. He has no chance against Tyson Fury. Sarafina, does he have a chance?
Nah, I don't think so. Going into that bout, I'm going to tell you, that will be the retirement package of Deontay Wilder.
Wow, that would be a tough one. Do you feel the same?
Definitely. But I think for what it's worth, the first match ended in a draw. The last match, Tyson Fury won. Wilder was just want to say, okay, you know what, best out of 3. and let's just see what's going to happen. But definitely, Tyson Fury is in the best shape of his life and his career, and he's very much looking forward to a fight between him and Anthony Joshua to unify all the heavyweight titles in the division. So that is the big one that we all are waiting for and want to watch. But you know what? Wilder is entitled to a rematch. He has triggered the clause. The match will go down, but then after that, the big one is Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. No doubt about that.
I'm looking at Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Sarafina, do you think Joshua stands a chance?
From what I saw in the game between the bout between Wilder and Anthony Fury, I would tell you that if Fury put up such performance again, I think it's going to come through. But then again, you look at Anthony Joshua going into any bout, he's going to take his time to study Tyson Fury very, very well, pay good attention to him. So it's going to be too close to call. But based on the last fight I saw, I'm going to give it to Tyson.
Giving it to Tyson Fury, and yes, we'll support Anthony Joshua, but it looks like a huge battle. But of course, we're looking forward to that. I'm hearing it might happen sometime in December. Yeah. So it just might be a good Christmas present for all of us right here in Nigeria supporting Anthony Joshua. We all want him to succeed against Tyson Fury, but it's boxing. May the best man win the bout. Well, that's what draw a wrap on today's show. Thank you, Sarafina, for coming.
Thank you for having me, Udoka.
And your hair, as always. Maybe you tell us behind the scenes.
Thank you for giving me this smile, please.
Okay, thanks as always.
Always a pleasure being here. Thank you.
All right, keep it locked down to Plus TV Africa. We'll give you the best when it comes to TV programming. I'm Udoka and Joko. Wishing you the very best of the day.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Good morning. This is Plus TV Africa and News on the Hour. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Benny Ark. The presidency has expressed deep sadness and regret over the latest bandit attack in Kaduna State that killed several people and left many injured, assuring that the Buhari administration would not be blackmailed by criminals. Garba Shehu, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, stated this in a statement in Abuja on Monday. The presidential aide quoted President Buhari to have assured the people of Kaduna State and other parts of the country that the government will continue to deploy all available resources to fight these cold-hearted bandits with a view to bringing them to their knees. The president, while expressing profound commiserations to the victims of the heinous attacks in Kaduna State, sent a strong warning to the killers, saying they cannot be lucky always. The National Christian Elders Forum, the NCEF, yesterday expressed sadness over the rising spate of insecurity in the country. It appealed to former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and General Theophilus Danjuma to put aside their differences and intervene on Christians' behalf. The NCEF stated this in a communique issued after a meeting in Lagos and signed by its chairman, Solomon Asemota, SAN. About 25 repentant members of the Boko Haram insurgents with their wives and children have been received in Maiduguri by the Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Hajia Zuwaira Gambo, on behalf of the state government. The repentant insurgents laid down their arms to the troops in Niger Republic. They landed in Maiduguri International Airport with military aircraft and headed to Bulukuntu Rehabilitation Center. Handing over the repentant insurgents, the coordinator of the Safe Corridor program, Major General Bamidele Shafa, said the former insurgents will be well rehabilitated by the federal government Operation Safe Corridor program. He also encouraged other insurgents in the bush to surrender. Speaking to newsmen while receiving the surrendered Boko Haram, Hajia Zuwaira Gambo said the rehabilitation center is ready to rehabilitate and de-radicalize the returnees and also provide the necessary support and education as well as psychological support before uniting them with their families.
Open hand to drop their weapons and embrace peace for the betterment of all of us. Thank you and God bless.
They are Nigerians first and foremost. And they are Nigerians that have decided to behave according to the dictates of our constitution and abide by the rules and laws of this nation. They have lived out of the shores of this country and have been brought here to be reunited with their families. So ours at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center is to provide them with the psychosocial support, to feed them, to clothe them, and give them some basic form of education on behalf of the government of Borno State. This is a center that His Excellency the Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, gives so much attention to and provides us with the necessary support to ensure that these guests are rehabilitated and given the required training in various skills and then reunited with their families.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the NSCDC, says it has deployed personnel to the notorious Abuja-Kaduna Highway to ensure the safety of motorists and communities residing along the road corridor. The State Commandant Kaduna, Babangida Dutsena, made this known to newsmen in Kaduna, the state capital, as they marked the 2020 International Civil Defense Day with the theme, Civil Defense as a first aider in every home. Mr. Dutsena says the State Command is ready to rid the popular highway of notorious kidnappers and bandits.
The current deployment of personnel to Golden Acres, located in kilometer 52, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, and Operation Thunder Strike and Operation Yagi, among others, are intense security, which is yielding gradually result, and even though much is expected from it. But from the little contribution we are able to make, people of Kaduna State could testify that we are making a lot of impact. Statutorily, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is tasked by law to provide 24-hour surveillance on critical and national infrastructures to prevent same from activities of the vandals.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says a clear-cut set of strategies to curb the proliferation of small and light weapons will soon be developed. Osinbajo's spokesman Laolu Akande, in a statement on Monday, said that the Vice President met with top security chiefs and members of the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, the PRESCOM, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. At the last National Security Council meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari had directed the Vice President to chair a committee to review the report of PRESCOM constituted in April 2013. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court adjourned until Tuesday hearing in application filed by Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, asking it to review a judgment on Imo governorship that declared Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress, APC, winner of the March 9, 2019 election. Ihedioha and the PDP had approached the court after the Apex Court on January 14 nullified its victory and declared Uzodinma as the winner of the election. It was a gathering of RECs and national commissioners of INEC, along with the commission's chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, in Lagos to review a new legal framework for 2023 elections. Our correspondent, Mary Chinda, was at the INEC retreat report.
It's almost 1 year after the 2019 general elections, and the electoral umpire, INEC, gathers in Lagos to push for a review of the electoral legal framework. The chairman of INEC declares the retreat open. He reiterates the Commission's desire to attend to the recommendations of the 2019 Electoral Act Amendment Bill from the Senate Committee on INEC, aimed at achieving credible polls ahead of the 2023 elections.
The Commission's input is not limited to the review proposed by the National Assembly. As election managers, we conduct elections. We also monitor pre-election activities such as party primaries, and handle post-election processes, including the outcome of litigations. Therefore, we must, at this meeting, cast our nets wide by dissecting the Electoral Act in the light of experience and proposing wide-ranging amendments that will give the nation an electoral legal framework that can truly protect the choice of citizens and guarantee free, fair, and credible elections.
With Ondo and Edo elections happening in November 2020, the chairman condemns all forms of electoral violence.
For as long as violators of our electoral laws are not penalized, we'll continue to have issues with our elections. If you take a place like South Africa, for instance, they have what they call the electoral courts. Violators are arrested and instantly prosecuted. But in our own case, committee after committee have recommended for the enactment of a law to set up the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal.
One of the goals of this retreat is the rendezvous and subsequent interactions between INEC and the Senate, which is expected to come up on the 5th of March. Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
The Disability Rights Advocacy Center, DRAC, has called on Nigerians to change its perception on persons living with disabilities. The executive director of DRAC, Irene Patrick Ogbogbo, spoke to newsmen during a two-day training session for media practitioners on the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls living with disabilities. Mrs. Patrick Ogbogbo says there is a negative stereotype on persons living with disabilities in the public space, especially regarding their sexual orientation and sexual wants.
The purpose of training the media is so that they can reach the people and let the people know that they need to stop discriminating against persons with disabilities. They need to support persons with disabilities in the attainment of their sexual and reproductive health and rights. They need to also be a voice, to join the advocacy for inclusive health services, access to sexual and reproductive health for persons with disabilities, especially women and girls, and generally to end discrimination and reduce all forms of violence against persons with disabilities, especially women and girls. There's this notion in our society that persons with disabilities are asexual. This means that they cannot have sex or they do not have sex or sexual feelings. And this can be quite detrimental and counterproductive because it affects the way we view them. So you find areas where a woman with a disability, for instance, is sterilized because she's had multiple pregnancies in a number of years. And so the doctor on his own decides to sterilize her and cut her tubes without her knowledge, without her consent, just because they feel like she shouldn't be having sex, talk less of getting pregnant.
President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday congratulated the General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adejare Adeboye, on his 78th birthday. Buhari, in a statement by spokesman Femi Adesina, joined the Christian community in celebrating him and saluting his dedication to God, welfare of the church, and consistency in preaching and living the gospel for many years. He particularly lauded the positive influence he has on the country and its citizens with a wide network that hugely impacts on education, infrastructure, and health. Buhari said he was delighted with Adeboye's extensive contributions to the growth of the country, especially his forthrightness in telling the truth to leaders. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the Aliyu family in Birnin Kudu, Jigawa, over the passing of its patriarch, Alhaji Aminu Aliyu. The president's condolence message was convened in a statement by Senior Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja on Monday. The president condoled in particular with Magaji Dao Aliyu, Chairman House Committee on Power, and his long-time political associate, Farouk Adamu Aliyu, over the incident. He urged them to take solace in the knowledge that the departed, God-fearing head of their family lived a life of dedicated service to his community and humanity. The news will continue after the short break. We'll be back in a moment. Special representative of the UN Secretary General for Libya, Ghassan Salame, has resigned his appointment, citing health reasons. Spokesman of the UN chief, Mr. Stéphane Dujarric, confirmed the development to UN correspondent in New York on Monday after Salame announced the resignation in a tweet. "My health no longer allows this pace of stress, so I asked the Secretary General to relieve me of my mission, hoping for peace and stability in Libya," he wrote. Dujarric said the Secretary General Antonio Guterres had received Salame's resignation letter and would meet with him later to discuss smooth transition. Meanwhile, Tunisia has confirmed its first case of the new coronavirus. The health minister, Abdelatif Al-Maki, said this at a news conference in Tunis. The health ministry said that the patient is a 40-year-old Tunisian man who had returned from Italy. Similarly, 2 new cases of novel coronavirus infection were confirmed in Algeria, the Algerian health ministry said on Monday. The 2 include a 54-year-old woman and a 24-year-old daughter who live in the northern province of Blida, some 50 kilometers to the southwest of the capital city, Algiers. They were both tested positive for the new coronavirus after return to France on February 21. Up next is our foreign news.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
Coronavirus, it's a viral infection. And the new coronavirus that we're all talking about, novel coronavirus, it's part of a family of various coronaviruses that do exist.
If anybody is not prepared right now, I would say it's carelessness, because it is something we all knew was going to come.
Symptoms to look out for, the main ones are cough, high fever, and respiratory distress. That just means breathing difficulties.
I will say no country is prepared for coronavirus as it is. Really?
Prevention is key, and hand hygiene is key when we are talking about this.
Alcohol does not kill it. You just need to take a lot of water.
So
taking a lot of
hydrate
water,
your system.
Hydrate yourself.
There is no cure right now. The only thing that we have to help us right now, prevention.
Awesome.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory in Israel's general election after exit polls put him ahead of his main rival, Benny Gantz. 3 projections gave Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party 36 or 37 seats and Gantz's centrist blue and white alliance between 32 and 34. However, the polls suggested Likud and its right-wing allies might fall short of a majority in parliament. Monday's election was Israel's 3rd in less than a year. Neither of the 2 main party leaders was able to command a majority in the 120-seat parliament following the last 2 rounds. 6 people in the Seattle area have died of illness caused by the new coronavirus, health officials said on Monday, as authorities across the United States scrambled to prepare for more infections with more emphasis on increasing testing capacity. Dr. Jeff Duchin, health officer of the Seattle and King County Public Health Agency, announced the rise in fatalities from the previous 2 in Washington state. 8 of the 14 total cases in his jurisdictions are linked to an outbreak at a nursing facility in the Seattle suburb of Kirkland, including 4 deaths, Duchin said at a news conference.
Unfortunately, we are now starting to find more COVID-19 cases in Washington that appear to be acquired locally here in Washington. And we now know that the virus is actively spreading in some communities here in Washington.
We want to get our testing capacity as high as possible. I said to the people around this table that I would like to have a goal of 1,000 tests per day.
We're also moving with maximum speed to develop therapies so that we can help people recover as quickly as possible.
Coming up next is our business news. And in business news, oil prices rose for a second day on Tuesday on expectations that central banks are likely to enact financial stimulus to offset the impacts of the coronavirus outbreak and growing optimism that OPEC will order deeper output cuts this week. Brent crude rose $1.26 per barrel, or 2.4% to $53.16 per barrel. while West Texas Intermediate rose $1.24 or 2.7% to $47.99 a barrel. Meanwhile, Brent and the World Trade Index have rebounded somewhat over the past 2 days from a more than 20% drop from their 2020 peak in January, caused by signs the coronavirus spread has dented fuel demand. Also, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on Monday said they stood ready to help member countries address the human and economic challenges of the fast-spreading coronavirus outbreak, including through emergency funding. In a joint statement, the two institutions said they were focused especially on poor countries where health systems are weakest and urged member countries to strengthen health surveillance and response systems to contain the spread of the virus, the statement said. International cooperation is essential to deal with the health and economic impact of the COVID-19 virus. And still ahead of Plus TV Africa News is our roundup in entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment. Do stay with us.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I'm here at Yunus Bashorin Street where
the fire destroyed our transformer completely. The lowest level you can.
Plus TV Africa, the big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
And in entertainment, pop superstar Taylor Swift topped the list of the world's best-selling music artists in 2019 thanks to the success of her album, Lover, beating popular acts including Korean pop sensation, the BTS, recording industry group IFP said on Monday it was the second time the 30-year-old singer-songwriter had led recorded music sales globally. The first was in 2014 when she debuted her album 1989. Just behind Swift in the 2019 rankings was British singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran, followed by rapper Post Malone and teen singer Billie Eilish, who swept the top Grammy Awards in January. Queen, the rock band, performed in London in 1970, landed 5th place. The group's music enjoyed resurgence after the release of the Freddie Mercury biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody. Lover was Swift's 7th studio album and included hits such as the title track, a ballad, and an upbeat single, Me. And that's it on entertainment, the very best in sports. Coming up right next with Udoka Njoku. Stay with us.
And in sports, former top 30 and Slovakia's Anna Karolina Smedlova shocked 5-time Wimbledon champion and former world number 1 Venus Williams to reach the second round of the Abierto GMP Seguros, securing her first win since Wimbledon, as Williams was hoping to join her sister Serena as one of 2 women to win matches across 4 decades. Carolina, who had an injury comeback after 6 months away from the court, rallied from a set down to move to the next round in 2 hours 29 minutes. 25-year-old Carolina will now face number 9 seed Maria Buskova, who is past Kristina Kukova in straight sets. Still in sports, Everton boss Carlo Ancelotti has been charged by the English football governing body for misconduct after he was sent off in Sunday's fixture against Manchester United. The Italian approached referee Chris Kavanagh at the final whistle after Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal was ruled out for an offside. Ancelotti will not get a touchline ban, but will be fined £8,000 if he accepts the charge before Thursday's deadline. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoku.
And you can join Njoku Njoku more on sports later on. And that's our news roundup event at this hour. For more news updates, please do follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benny Ark.
Beautiful, classic, yet simple. That's the quickest description of the Nigerian flag, adjudged to be one of the finest in Africa. It takes a square shape. It has a breadth of 1.2 meters and a length of 2.4 meters for a big flag. Designed in 1959 and first officially hoisted on the 1st of October 1960, what does the flag represent to Nigerians?
The colors in the Nigerian flag, the green symbolizes natural wealth, while the white symbolizes peace.
I don't know the meaning. I just know that it is Nigerian flag, that's all I know.
Green symbolizes the vegetation of the country. Yeah, the vegetation of the country, while the white signifies the peace of the country.
As much as the flag has over the years being the national symbol, less attention has been paid to the designer.
Green, white, green. This is by no means looking like the presidential villa, but this is the home of the designer of the Nigerian flag, Pa Taiwo Akinkunmi.
Michael Taiwo Akinkunmi is 83. He lives in the ancient city of Ibadan. It's 60 years after he designed the flag. Some would call him a genius, others would call him a hero, but this graduate of Norwood Technical College, London, chooses to call himself a pensioner and a retired civil engineer. Despite his poor health and slurred speech, he tells of how in 1959, as an engineering student in London, he stumbled on a government advertisement for entries to design a national flag and how his entry became the flag. His initial design had an image of a radiating sun, but was removed by the judges of the screening committee in charge of the competition.
I was fortunate to reach the publication for the design, and I took part in the competition, and then I was lucky to win the advertisement for the design of the flag for use in the independence celebration.
How much was he paid for the flag?
I had a prize of about £100 for winning the competition.
As common with old people, Pa Michael Akinkunmi's memory is failing him, but interestingly, he still remembers how to sing the national anthem.
To compatriot, Nigeria's called obey, to serve our fatherland with love and arms and praise, a nation of we shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Away from the initial £100, that is 42,000 naira back in the days, and a national honor, what else has the flag designer received from the government of Nigeria? Young Akinkunmi is Pa Taiwo's son. He says his father hasn't enjoyed much from the government except for a lifetime salary given to him by the past PDP administration.
During the past regime of the, Jonathan, actually, he gave him National Award, OFR, Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, and he placed him on a monthly salary. So that was what Goodluck Jonathan did then for him. So, and this present government, they are trying their best. Let me just put it that way. I'm going to continue straight to there.
As the nation turns 59 and Nigerians celebrate another independence, there are expectations that notable Nigerians who played commendable roles in Nigeria's history will be more appreciated. However, the octogenarian sends his felicitations to Nigerians world over.
I am Taiwo Akinkume, the designer of the Nigerian flag used for the independence celebration of the country, and I wish all our sundry happy independence.
Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
The moment he came with that message of you don't expect me to treat the 97% the same way I would treat the 5%. That was a statement of division.
I haven't even heard. I did not know that this had come up again.
Really?
I didn't know it had gone into second reading. So thank you for mentioning it. This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard. To think that these people can raid this country, destroy this country, and then ask for immunity.
Isn't democracy the government of the people, by the people, for the people?
That's what it should be.
And at what point did we give the power within this democracy, of this democracy, to the people we have voted?
The Constitution is not we, the people, as we have it today. It's not we, the people, that promulgate. That Constitution is not us.
It has nothing to do with it.
It's something that was foisted on us.
Hello and thank you for staying with us. This is Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories. My name is Ossie Godwin, and I've got my amazing co-anchors with me, Ife Omai and Benny Hart.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi, Ife. How you doing?
Hi.
I'm great.
We dragged the cat out of the bag, right?
Yeah, the cat, right? Who's the cat here now? Me?
Yes, you are the cat.
I'm like a big cat, like
a tiger.
Like you know, it's good to be with you, ladies, this morning. How you doing? Looking good, by the way.
Always.
Looking paying as always, Ife.
Thank you. Well, this is the first show together, so let's
yes,
see how it
this is
goes.
our first show together. Man. So can we toast tea to that? Do they toast with tea
Do
to
you
that?
even toast the tea?
Okay, moving on. Taylor Swift ranks best-selling global artist in 2019 thanks to the success of her album Lover. Lover was Swift's 7th studio album. Ed Sheeran came second, while Post Malone followed. I think this is the second time she's doing this.
Yeah.
It happened first in 2014, right? And congratulations to her.
Yeah, she has been in the business for a while. I was actually a Taylor Swift fan when I was younger. Like, I knew every lyrics, every song of the first album, 17, 16, all those ones. I knew everything. And she has stayed consistent, I have to say. I'm not as big of a fan. I think I've just grown differently, but she has stayed consistent in the type of music that her audience is looking for. But I would say that her song has gotten a lot more pop. There used to be more country before.
She's growing.
Yeah, she's gotten a lot more pop. And this particular album, I think, was a bit more serious. There were some songs, like the most streamed on that album, Me, was irritating to me, still irritating. That me. It's like, okay, put something else other than me in your lyrics. But it did really well. Other than that, she actually tackled a lot of songs about social ills, and I really like that. She got many awards for the one on LGBTQ. She's done on climate change. She's done a lot of other stuff. So she's doing conscious music, and that's nice.
Oh, interesting. Taylor's doing conscious music. That's, I would say pop music.
You're not a real fan?
No, I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. No, never been. But I think her consistency is what I'm impressed with.
Yeah.
She on the top 40, she's had like 25 top 40s in the singles chart. She's had like 5 number ones on the Billboard charts. And so her consistency has been all the way. And so she's had a fantastic career. She still is having a fantastic career. And I think there's no stopping to Taylor Swift. Sometimes when I think about her as what Britney was in my time,
right,
to what Taylor Swift is to this present generation. I don't know if you fall into that generation.
It made you feel so old.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I see as a cross between Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
Oh, but you're calling powerful names.
Yes, those are powerful names, you know.
And they were more like sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor Swift isn't really.
She's just coming into that now. Just recently.
I said she's growing.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more of Taylor Swift. She's not done. I don't think she's close to being done.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of evolving, a lot of different sides of her coming out, and more stronger music, like you rightly said. So I really love the span of her career and how it's going. And I don't think she's had too many scandals. So
yeah, I mean, other than that, the fact that she swaps boyfriends really quickly and she thinks about all of them.
Her life.
This is actually, there was a comment on social media, and I was talking about that.
But that doesn't happen. She's not going to come out with a record.
Thank you. They were even saying that but she's actually in a relationship now, and it's been the longest in a long time, and people are crediting that relationship to this album.
That's it. Every album is a relationship gone bad for Taylor Swift, and so I think it's just that.
And we're still waiting for Adele. I don't know what's going on, but she needs to be fast. Okay, moving on to the next story. Megan Thee Stallion accuses her label of holding her new album hostage. She revealed the conflict with the label as she addressed her new album delay in a video. She says she is not allowed to put out any new music. So the video was on a live Instagram chat, and I don't know why she looked so unserious in the video. Like, you're talking something real serious and you're just licking lollipop and let me repeat that. You have a question again.
I think that is because she didn't expect it to be an issue that the label is having with her right now. She just wanted a renegotiation. She was young, 20 at the time. She signed.
It's 20 that young.
Yeah. Well, you can be pretty much naive to many things about contractual law. I mean, when it comes to what it is you're putting pen and paper to.
I see.
And maybe again,
it's interesting to see you sound like this. Because if this was a Nigerian artist,
I'm going to come to that.
You're going to
I'm going to come to that.
Hold on.
I'm going to come to that, Elsie. And so she just said, you know what? Okay, can we have a renegotiation? And that was what she asked for. And then they went bonkers on that. And so maybe that was just to let them know, no, I wasn't really taking this thing seriously. Why are you guys acting this way? And then the head of the record label, Crawford, came out to say she's not made him any money.
Oh, wow.
And
that's impossible.
Exactly. A team is saying, no, that is totally untrue. That she brought in a whole lot of money. And so if she's asking for a renegotiation, think about it and don't. And again, people think it's because she has this signing management deal with Rock Nation. So maybe again that's a sour taste to Crawford, and it's not finding it funny.
Right.
Okay, you're about to take my cash cow away from me.
She was trying to explain that as well. She's saying they are both independent platforms, and for Rock, she's not signed under them. They're basically just managing
it's
her.
Management deal.
Yeah. So I think he should really understand and come back to the table, because this came as a rude shock to her. She's wondering, I only wanted a negotiation.
Yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah. It's interesting because yesterday we were talking about Solid Star.
And I just didn't mention her.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to know that, okay, same thing's actually happening somewhere else. We're not just so backward. And it gave me the insight now that every contractor always says they don't make money. It's like a thing now, because with Solid Star, we could have like, maybe you didn't, but with Megan Thee Stallion, it's very clear you did make money. So it's just a tactics that they say like, oh, I didn't make any money off you, but we know that's an actual lie.
So, I'm trying to remember the exact thing that happened with Tiny and YC right now, so the same thing, and then a few other artists.
I think for his own, he wasn't getting royalties for the constant streaming of all the works he had with Tiny. So, and then Tiny came out to say, "Oh, we broke this, this record." And I'm saying, at least even if you're not paying royalties or paying us what we deserve,
something.
Just tell us, at least give us credit to say this was a YC work or a YC album or something. Whatever it is, I think there will always be beef somehow. But it's time for a quick break, and when we return, there's definitely more to discuss.
Hello, beautiful people. I go by the name Black Bassi, and I am an actor and a musician. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
In a world of overwhelming voices, where everyone has something to say,
it is important that we bring the core issues to the fore.
As we lend our voices to inspire, inform, influence, and provoke your thoughts and action.
We want to hear these issues and know what you are saying.
This is not just women talking.
It is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
We take on topics some may consider taboo and want to sweep under the carpet.
We understand that what touches one touches all.
We know you have a lot to say, so let's hear you.
Hi guys, my name is Yetunde Bakari. I'm an actress and a movie producer. I just want to tell you to keep watching Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
This is still Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Tonto Dike dares Churchill to sue her if he's not bisexual. Okay, so like we know, this has been layers of conversation. I think it was about last 2 weeks we discussed Churchill saying he was going to sue her for damages, 500 million.
Yep.
Is it Naira?
Yeah.
Dollars. Okay, and now she's responding. From her response, it's looking like that suing was an audio. Wasn't what?
A bluff.
Yeah, it was an audio suing.
That Churchill was bluffing. Maybe.
Yeah, and she's saying, I dare you to sue me if you are not bisexual.
You know, my hunch in all of this is, you know, I don't know why people constantly feel the need to like shame people for their sexual preference or sexuality. I don't care the whole hula baloo and what's going on between Churchill and Toto Dike. We all know it was about.
No, but you know, in this part of the world, it's illegal. So it's
illegal.
Elsie,
that's the thing. We want to understand, explain the illegal. Isn't it caught in the act? Illegal.
Exactly. Being caught in the act, but you can't just wake up and say somebody is without any proof.
Yeah.
You know, did you catch them in the act?
I don't understand. She used to be married to this man.
This is my point. Was she privy to the act?
Well, Toto Dike would have to answer that question.
No, but this is my point in all of this, right? I mean, face the real issue. Sue him for the real issue. His sexuality.
They're not suing anyone. They're just tagging, pulling on each other.
She also said something in one of the blogs, they picked it where she said she gave him the fame he has now and that she can give his entire village the fame if they want it. But I think Churchill should also move on. He needs to let this whole thing go, because it seems like when they want to be talked about or Churchill wants an attention,
he will reply to
Tonto. He will reply to Tonto.
Yeah, but both of them they seem to leave for that, especially Tonto.
No, this started with Churchill.
With Churchill, this another Tonto.
And I also like to raise this every time. Let's not forget, Tonto was not responding until last year.
Yeah.
She was not responding until last year.
Yeah. It's very easy for people to paint her as the crazy person, but he's been doing a lot of defaming as well. He started this whole thing. It was interesting, though, that she said in the screenshots of Instagram post that she said my ex, when she was talking about being gay.
Gay, yeah.
That was talking about my ex, but how many exes? But you've always been saying that this was Churchill, so that already made me feel like you're talking too much and you can't keep up with your own stories. If he's bisexual, okay, I really don't care. But being bisexual doesn't mean that the person has a right to cheat on you with other people.
No.
So it's not the issue. He can feel any way. Well, how does that affect your relationship? Was he then sleeping with other people? Even if he was sleeping with a woman or a man, the idea is that he's still sleeping with other people outside. So are you trying to tell us something that you're a victim, or are you just trying to like shame someone? Like I don't understand what's happening.
For me, I think it's the angle of shaming, because at the end of the day, there are questions to be asked. When did you find out that Churchill was bisexual? You know what I mean?
Same time she found out he wasn't Obasanjo's son.
Same time she found out that he was a Yahoo boy, and the 2 seconds.
Was that based on this ground? Was that based on this that you asked both of you went your separate ways? Because if it's not, it's coming up to me right now. You know, you're just trying to shame somebody because you're trying to have the more points for this person. So whether we accept it or like it or not, whether the side of the country doesn't like it, is illegal. Some people are gay. Deal with it.
And you can't. There's nothing you can do about it.
I think they need to stop. They both just need to stop.
Yeah.
Their son is getting older. He clocked, was he 3?
can't be caught in all of this mess.
I mean, he's growing. He's getting to
And
that
churches
point
should
where
do
he can
better.
pick up
I
his
mean,
phone and read. So they need to stop. That's where I'm coming from.
I don't want to say
whatever
Churchill
it is.
be the man, but I think you should just, take example from people like,
Be the human being.
what's his name? Token Makinwa's exes. Majay. I mean, there was anything he hardly said all of that period when the book was being publicized and being read all over the places. He kept mute, not because he didn't have anything to say.
But they went to court though.
That's it. They went to court. But there was,
he's doing action rather than talking. He's not dragging.
Anything he said on Twitter in response to Token Makinwa.
Yeah,
let's move on. And very coincidentally, we're talking about Token Makinwa right now.
Oh, wow.
She says, husband will not fly inside the roof to find you. She's advising single ladies to go out, meet people, have fun. But the interesting part of this conversation is that she said she doesn't go out. She doesn't meet people. And people are questioning that and saying, okay, you are almost everywhere. Every event. How exactly are you not going out?
She's a socialite. I mean, what does she mean she doesn't go out?
Well, what you see, the thing is that socialites don't actually socialize. They show up, they take pictures, and then they go. It's kind of overwhelming. I have family that is pretty close in that lifestyle, and I'm in the living room when they leave. I haven't finished watching a series. They've come back home because all they've done is just gone home, gone to the event, done that. It's kind of overwhelming for them to be a known face. You'll be surprised how lonely those people are, even though the whole world knows them. Having quality engagement, having real connection with people is close to impossible. Very close to impossible with those people, because even for me now, if I meet Token Makinwa, I really don't want to know who she is and her real struggles. I just want to take a picture and surface stuff and then move on with my life. And that's a lot of other people that she meets on a daily basis. So I understand where she's coming from with that. And I was also going to say that that's why most of the people in her lane of work always find people who are either outside of Nigeria that don't really know her fame, or are not in the industry, not on social media, or either super old or something weird like that. So I understand where she's coming from.
Interesting. I was actually having a talk with somebody yesterday about Tonto, and the person feels I don't so much like Toke. I beg your pardon. Toke. I don't hate Toke. Matter of fact, I met Toke like 1, 2, 3 times. She's been on my radio show for an interview doing a book. We met in 2 different events. I just don't subscribe to a whole lot of her thoughts, but that doesn't mean I hate her, But on these again, I think I have a problem with you saying the reason single ladies should go out is because for them to meet potential life partners. No, there are many reasons why single ladies should go out. I mean, go discover you, go find you, go have fun by yourself, take yourself out, and if in the process. You do meet somebody.
I think she's talking about single ladies that want to be in a relationship, though. She's not talking about
Then be very specific, because she just says single ladies.
If you're calling an individual,
if we try to streamline her conversation to just single ladies that are actually looking for a relationship,
because it's not all single ladies out there that are looking for a relationship.
Wouldn't you advise them to go out more?
Yeah.
That's not going to be the reason I'm going to actually go out more. Go out more because it's what you want.
No, but I'm a single lady coming to you. I'm saying that I want to be in a relationship. Would you advise me to go out more?
Go out more to do what? To discover you?
To meet people.
Hold up.
To go fish.
I was just going to say that. Hold up. That to meet with different men on different dates and all that. Is that it?
Put myself out there. Yeah, socialize, meet people.
Are there detriments to that?
What
because
do you
got to be ready for what that might come with.
Which is socializing? Like
with socializing, because at the end of the day, I mean, you might get yourself into wrong hands. You might be mistreated by 1 or 2 guys.
So,
I'm just saying.
Would you advise people who are single that want to meet people
to stay indoors?
To stay indoors.
To stay indoors.
Yeah.
No, I would say go out, but be very careful.
She's saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
she said.
She just
single ladies who want to marry. I mean, husband will not come and meet you. She said it. And so I'm saying that should not be the reason alone you encourage single ladies to go out.
I think you're overcomplicating this thing, because she talks about single ladies.
Okay.
She talks about marriage. So it's not about the whole individual. It's just this aspect of their lives where they are single and looking for marriage. And she's advising you on that connection.
Are you single?
No, I'm not.
Are you single? When you go out every time, do you go out with intention? I'm hoping to find a man here.
Some nights when I was single.
Okay, so I don't necessarily take myself out like that, but when I do, I'm going to probably watch a movie and I'm focused.
That's what
So
I'm
you
saying.
don't have ever in your mind an intention to meet someone?
Yeah,
like,
of course. I mean, you
All
hope
the
to
time?
meet someone.
Every time you go out?
No, it's not.
It depends on where I'm going to and what I'm going to do.
The times I
If I'm
go
going
out,
to an
I just
event,
want to be.
what?
I just want to be all by myself. And sometimes
Are
somebody.
you single?
Right now?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Benny, are you
Let's
single?
say kinda.
Kinda. You know, but this is my point, right? I'm saying so we don't create a narrative that people will fall into and get into
I
trouble.
think I get where you're coming from, because sometimes if that's the only thing you are thinking about when you're going out, you probably you are not yourself anymore.
Yeah.
You can come out as desperate.
Yeah.
Thank you
You
very much,
can
Elsie.
actually
You
fall
know,
for any gimmick because
Well, I guess maybe it's 'cause
the
for
very
me,
first
I'm-
high is a big deal for you.
Maybe it's because
You
for
know,
me,
so,
I'm a lot
yeah.
more social. So even if I'm not single right now, I still go out deliberately to find connection. That's the reason why I'm leaving my house. I'm not going to go and watch the walls.
I think I'm
trying to go,
as much
like,
as I'm single,
bond with
I think
people.
I really go out to see if I can meet the next business partner. I'm sorry, I'm just
Yeah, you
That's
have
another
to.
reason to
You
go
have
out.
to be intentional about your goals.
Yeah, but networking
my
encompasses
network.
a whole lot of
Yes,
things.
you can network
So
and
you
find
can
business,
then
you can
find
network and
love
find-
in that
Yeah.
network.
You know, this is my point, right? I'm
Absolutely.
not totally discarding what Toke said, but I'm just saying so we don't get because
Too
sometimes
carried away.
exactly with it.
Right.
And I think every time I go out, I'm going out hoping.
Yeah, I like that,
some
and I think
guy-
we've been able
It's
to
good to say
establish
that.
some
Yeah.
boundaries,
You know.
and people should pick one or two things from that.
Right.
All right, I think we need to go on a very quick break, but when we come back, we have one more story to discuss.
Hello, hi, good morning. My name is Dayo Amosa. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. I love you all.
Hello guys, it's Femi Branch. Now keep watching Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Most people don't need a miracle, they need money, because 90% of the things they pray about, money can solve. They feel so unblessed because they have little of it. They have been conditioned to think that they are only blessed when they have much of it. And this is coming from Timi Dakolo.
I couldn't write this tweet any better, to be honest. Like, I feel like he nailed it. He used the right words. I think my student communications just came out. When he used words like conditioning, blessings, miracle, and the, you know, financial status. So it was really spot on. It's true. It's very, very, very true. I've lived in two different types of world. One where it's money driven, like we need money, we're poor, and one that's affluent. And every time it works. If you take out need, you take out religion. I'm not saying that religion isn't necessary. Spirituality is key.
Is religion necessary?
I don't think it is.
Because you just said the right thing. Spirituality, it's key, and
Yeah.
that is the essence of our being, which is what is
yeah,
very
but
important.
spirituality and religion is not the same.
They're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Nigerians need churches. That's why I think they have done a lot of
Because
nobody
they need
else
something to hold
Yes.
on to.
For sanity.
I think that's
For
the word.
sanity. Like, what are you going to give these people? We don't have government. I'm not going to do it as an individual who's more privileged. I'm not. I don't even give beggars money. So who is going to actually help these people other than having, like, togetherness and unity, being able to share the little that they have? I've been to churches and remove sermons. It makes sense. So, you know.
You know, for me, this is right. I agree with most of the things you did say, all right? I asked a few of my friends that, listen, if today you can have everything you ever want for life, are you still going to go to church and pray? Would you still pray to this God?
I'll still pray.
Why?
But I probably won't go to church. I'm not even going
Because
to church
this is what I feel they've reduced.
I think the prayer will be different.
This is what religion has reduced God to, maybe a particular religion that is a need-meeting being. And that is the only way people get to connect with him when they have needs. And so when things are not okay, I got to connect with this spiritual source because he's my need provider. It supplies my need. And I say to people who live in countries where they don't face what we face here, your religion is not going to sell. If you go to the UAE, your religion is not going to sell. What you going to tell them that trust in my God, he supply your need? What need are you talking about? All right. But like Shirley said, because the government has failed us, and so people need something it's like Novocaine to lessen the pain. You know, things are not okay, so you're holding on to the spiritual force you feel. But the more constant you're in, the more focus you give to it, it helps you resolve all of your issues. But this is it again. This is money. This is religion. What would you go for?
Okay, I like that you two took it from here, but I won't take it from here.
Okay.
So what he's saying for some, because I read comments, and like I said, I like where you guys are taking it from. That's like on another level for those who really love their spirituality and want to live like a very defined life, right? But for some, it's just very basic. So a person needs help, and the person speaks to you, and you say, it is well, God will help you. No, the person needs help. Are you connecting this person to someone, or you're going to help this person financially, or you're going to advise them in a way that it will help them? It is well does not help anyone. And sometimes when you're deep in that mess, that word can actually break you, right? Or the phrase. And then secondly, I think this should also go to churches, especially when you have members. You're flying private jets and you're driving the best cars, but some of your members have not been able to eat, or they cannot eat 3 square meals, right?
A good example is Commerce University. The church built the
let's not even get there.
University, but the people can't afford to send their kids to that same
Can you create like a system that can help those people? I know that there are churches that have systems for widows, system for orphans. You can go in there and tap in. So it's not just saying get the admission, God will do something. They actually have a system to help you pay that school fees and see you through school. But there are so many churches as well that are not doing this, right? And I don't want to say misplaced priorities, but I think that's the best phrase I can use. So I think he's more of saying that we should try to help people when people are coming to you to say, not just the churches, not even as individuals, when they're saying this is the issue I have, think about it from the angle of saying, how can I help? Not always sending them to the Bible and telling them it is well.
We've definitely
it is well, and God is not going to come down to make it well. He's going to use somebody. Can you try to be the vessel that God is going to use? And if you cannot be that vessel in a bigger way, you can also be that vessel in a smaller way by the words you choose to use.
And it's also good to mention that I'm not saying that developed countries don't have churches. It's just very watered down and almost more personal than group in and Shiloh and all of that stuff. So there is still that aspect of spirituality, because man isn't just flesh. We know that. So how you decide to feel that exists globally. The one thing I would say though is I always imagine like what would Nigeria look like without religion? Because religion plays the family planning.
If the government was working,
it's not just about the government now.
It's about the people.
They do family planning. They do
religion will not just be.
They do all the things where in abroad you have like a call center for rape. You go to your church here. You have a call center for this. You go to your pastor.
You mentioned family plan. Over the weekend, I was with a friend and we were speaking to someone, and well, you can still classify this person as one of the rural people in the society. Right. And he said he has 3 children now. And my friend says, "Are you done with having children?" I said, "Yes, I don't finish you." And then I said, "Are you done by saying you are done, or you're actually taking measures to make sure you're done?" And he's saying, God no will give me another one. And I'm like, okay. Clearly, he's not done. We're expecting another baby soon.
I think my final thoughts are these, right? I'm not going to downplay the importance and the succor religion is given to a whole lot of souls. Maybe by now we have a lot of madness in our street than what is currently obtainable. Right. But I'm just saying that for the essence of what many people hold on to religion to, it's not what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And that is failure of leadership, of government. Are there churches doing their best to help people every now and then? Yes, there are. But I'm just saying people need to understand the fact that, you know what, he's not just a need-meeting being. He wants a relationship. That's what they say. So,
it could be a she.
It could be a she.
Okay, that's how we wrap up, because we're entering another level of she and he being God. But thank you for watching. Sexist. And remember, you can catch up on this conversation on all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Plus TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on R2 TV and in London on Ben Television. My thank you as always go to my amazing co-anchors, Ife Omai and Benny Ark, and the entire production team. Thank you for watching Plus TV Africa's Tea Time. My name is Elsie Godwin. Do stay with us.
All right, country people, I greet you on top this very o'clock when Mr. Nati join us for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This is not the terror Mr. One Sama given my name, I promise, Nero. They say the presidency don't talk as they're not happy for the latest bandit attack inside Kaduna State. When we say they take keep plenty people and when we say plenty others, then they injure. As they say criminals, no go fit set the Buhari administration up. Gabasho when we say the senior special assist to the Presido for media and publicity talk this one for 1 year inside Abuja on Monday. The presidential waka person, the quote of Presido Muhammad Buhari, he said don't assure the people of Kaduna State and other parts of the country, said the government could continue to carry all available resources to fight this cold-hearted bandit with waka to bring them to their knees. The president when say the Trowe battalion with the victims of the Ubunge attack people inside Kaduna State. He said one strong one he go meet the killer say they're not go feed they lucky all the time. The National Christian Elders Forum NCEF yesterday talk as not take happy for the plenty security when they happen for the country. Summer battalion gave it before Oga of State, General Yakubu won, before President Olusegun Obasanjo and General Theophilus Danjuma to throw away wetin they make them vest for one corner and shook mouth for Christian matter. The NCAF talk this one for 1 year when we say they throw away. After one meeting inside Lagos when we say the Shemo Solomon Asemota sign. The Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Hajia Zuwera Gambo, on behalf of the state government, he received about 25 repentant members of Boko Haram insurgents with their wives and picking them from Maduguri. The repentant insurgents dropped their arms, give the troop inside Niger Republic. They land inside Maduguri International Airport with military aircraft and they can go Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center. The coordinator of the Safe Corridor Program, Major General Bamidele Shafar, when we say they hand over the repentant insurgent, he said the federal government Operation Safe Corridor Program, he go treat the before insurgent them. He still encourage other insurgents for the bush to surrender. Ajia Zuwera Gambo when we say the young give talk men as they receive the surrendered Boko Haram. He said the rehabilitation center done ready to rehabilitate and de-radicalize the returnees and still give them all the support and education and the psychosocial support before they reunite them with their families.
Open hand to drop their weapons and embrace peace for the betterment of all of us. Thank you. And God bless.
They are Nigerians first and foremost. And they are Nigerians that have decided to behave according to the dictates of our constitution and abide by the rules and laws of this nation. They have lived out of the shores of this country and have been brought here to be reunited with their families. So ours at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center is to provide them with the psychosocial support, to feed them, to clothe them, and give them some basic form of education on behalf of the government of Borno State. This is a center that His Excellency the Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, gives so much attention to and provides us with the necessary support to ensure that these guests are rehabilitated and given the required training in various skills and then reunited with their families.
All right, the person who say join us for studio now, one of our political analysts, Moses Enekbe, and he gets something to yarn on top the matter. All right, Oga Moses, you don't hear the story when I just throw away just now about the repentant Boko Haram when they say they won't bring back to the society. Because I say that they treat them, they teach them things when they say it will make their life better. What you get to yarn about the matter and say they want to bring them back to the society?
Well, this matter, Nigeria will never get the technology to monitor people like that.
Okay.
You know, because right now, you bring these people in, how you want to monitor their worker? How you want to take the torchlight, waiting that they do and waiting they know they do? Because right now, these soldiers where they fight these people, they are losing their lives.
Okay.
And you come now, you say they are repentant, and you are bringing them back. You see, even in the United States, they not. I never heard this kind of before. You don't negotiate with terrorists. Once you decide, say you want pick arms with the say you want fight a state, now death warrant you don't sign now.
Okay.
It's either they lock you up one place where you no go see light again, or they buy you.
Okay, now two things.
Two things. By so doing, the other person will not go think, say, make me I go do the same thing. Okay. And recently, those people where they pay money, where will they waste our money for, where they say they be our senators. They say they want to do one program where they go they carry these same people, go they give them education abroad.
Okay. You sure say this waka now welcome develop?
No, which can welcome now? Now bye-bye develop now.
Okay, so you no support them on your own.
Anybody will get sense, no go support them because why? We not get the technology to monitor these people.
Okay, they won't be saying they don't get the technology, yes. But it better say they feel help those kind of people come to the society again.
No, put them one place.
Okay.
Confine them into in one place. Maybe they produce things. Maybe they sell them out. They pay them. Put them in one place. Those kind of people now, they're not supposed to live with normal human beings.
Okay. Aside, you know, say we get all of us get personal sentiments.
No be send me. I know they talk with sentiments.
So apart from that, what if you say this rehabilitation when they bring them back, so what go benefit the society?
Nothing.
So you don't get what they go gain from these people. Say okay, they no go back again. No, see how it go be.
Nothing. These people, make I even shock yourself. These people now where they don't bring back, so now what they call a sleeper cell.
Okay.
Now underground army. Okay. That they can be activated anytime.
Okay.
I tell you. Now underground army will be activated anytime.
Okay, which kind of bad thing you feel as they come back, so you feel say they fit do again? Because as you talk about activation, meaning say they fit go back to their old ways now. So which kind of bad thing you feel say they fit do?
Which bad thing did they do before?
Now you go answer this.
No, you ask me, they ask you, waiting carry them go where they go before.
They say that they keep people now.
And the same thing they go do.
So meaning say they go they keep people now. They talk.
No worry down, no worry.
Okay, no wahala. So it look like say this bill when be say it never be law, but it could be like say they don't start to do the work. What will be your take for inside the matter?
In fact, it just be say this our country. We know if we recall our senators. We know if we tell them say make them abeg come back. We no want make you help us. Make you no work for us again. Number one, I want to ask the question. Those soldiers' children, where their papa die. Because of these same boys. They don't send them go abroad, go school.
Okay.
Even our local school for here, they don't pay their school fees. Most of them, their wife, they don't pursue them, come out for barrack.
Okay.
One. Number two, the people where they IDP camp, where these boys don't kill their papa, kill their mama, they don't carry all of them, go keep one place. Then they will be say toilet no day. They will be say money they give them to chop. Some big people for government, they chop them.
Okay.
Waiting the government, why the government don't use that same money, go send those children, go school? What is there special about this Boko Haram? I mean, are these politicians' children? I don't understand though. I mean, they work for these politicians.
Okay, as you don't say you know support this move, so what will be the move when if you say they fit do?
They move where they're supposed to do. Be say once they see you say you be Boko Haram or you are a bandit, not to once a competent court, you understand me, don't condemn you. You see that you go live imprisonment or they make a law to execute you.
But they surrender, and I believe if person surrender, meaning say you no want to go back to what they do again, and you no go fit do them anyhow, immediately don't surrender.
Okay, he surrender.
Yeah.
Put her for somewhere. You understand me? Monitor her for over a longer period of time.
Okay.
Maybe for like 10 years. Put them for somewhere. We say they go they produce things.
Okay.
In China, most of the things what they use for this, what people they use for the world. Now prisoners they produce them.
Okay, so thank you very much. You don't tell us now. Say what did they supposed to do for those people ahead now, just to put them
to contain them in the place, like as they contain all these coronavirus people. Okay. This one a virus. You're supposed to contain them somewhere.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Oga Moses. When I say it shook my on top this matter, people they watch us and they really listen to what you talk. And I believe say the government say they watch us and they will do something about what we just talk. So. All right, they say the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, they say they don't carry personnel go the notorious Abuja-Kaduna Highway. Does it say the safety of motorists and communities when we say that they are along the road corridor, they safe? The state commandant, Kaduna Babangida December, he threw this year and gave talk men inside Kaduna when we say the state capital as they mark the 2020 International Civil Defense Day with the theme Civil Defense as first aider for every home. Oga Dusema said the state command ready to command kidnappers and bandits from the popular highway, Batakwata.
And of personnel to Golden Acres, located in kilometer 52, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, and Operation Thunder Strike and Operation Yagi, among others, are intense security, which is yielding gradually result, and even though much is expected from it. But from the little contribution we are able to make, people of Kaduna State could testify that we are making a lot of impact. Statutorily, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is tasked by law to provide 24-hour surveillance on critical and national infrastructures to prevent same from activities of the vandals.
Let's say the Vice President Yamoshi Banjo say they will soon develop better ways to check the way when we say small and light weapons take the plenty. Super Talk man Laolo Akonde for 1 year on Monday, he said the Vice President meets with top security chiefs and members of the Presidential Committee for Small Arms and Light Weapons, PRESCOM, for the Presidential Villa Abuja for the last National Security Council meeting. Oga President Muhammad Buhari, we don't tell the Vice President, make it be Shemo from one committee to touchlight the report of the PRESCOM when we say them start for April 2013. The Supreme Court carried their hearing go until Tuesday for one applicant when we say make a head of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). If I say made a touchlight the judgment for the Imo governorship when we say that they declare Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress (APC) winner of the March 9, 2019 election. A head and the PDP don't meet the court after the Apex Court on January 14 say he no win, and they can say now Uzodinma be the winner of the election. They say Rex and National Commissioners of INEC gather body along with the Commission, Shemo Mahmoud Yakubu inside Lagos to touchlight one new legal framework for 2023 elections. Our talk person, Mary Shinda, when say that the INEC retreat, it gets the yarn.
Like 1 year so after 2019 general elections, the elections have been men don't gather together for Lagos so as to fit ginger for a bigger eye inside waiting on Iboka electoral legal framework. As the INEC Chamo declared the meeting open, he can make them clear, say the commission get them from mind to put all hands together inside the suggestions of the 2019 Election Act Amendment Bill from the Senate Committee on INEC, so as to make the polls they credible ahead of 2023.
The Commission's input is not limited to the review proposed by the National Assembly, as election managers will conduct elections. We also monitor pre-election activities such as party primaries and handle post-election processes, including the outcome of litigations. Therefore, we must, at this meeting, cast our nets wide by dissecting the Electoral Act in the light of experience and proposing wide-ranging amendments that will give the nation an electoral legal framework that can truly protect the choice of citizens and guarantee free, fair, and credible elections.
As per Ondo and Edo state elections go sub for this year, November, the chairman Choyani say he no go happy at all in case any form of gbege starts, what they call electoral violence.
For as long as violators of our electoral laws are not penalized, we'll continue to have issues with our elections. If you take a place like South Africa, for instance, they have what they call the electoral courts. Violators are arrested and instantly prosecuted. But in our own case, committee after committee have recommended for the enactment of a law to set up the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal.
And as it is hot, one of the Bagan agenda are the many collabos and get-togethers we go sup between INEC and the Senate Committee. We suppose start on the 5th of March.
The Disability Rights Advocacy Center, DRAC, don't call on Nigeria people, made a change the way when they say that they see the people when they say they don't fit use all their body to do everything. The organ of DRAC, Irene Patrick Ogbogu, give talk men for 1 2-day training session of media practitioners for the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls when they say they don't fit they use all their body to do everything. Mrs. Patrick Ogbogu say they get negative stereotype for these people with disabilities for the public space, especially for their sexual orientation and sexual wants.
The purpose of training the media is so that they can reach the people and let the people know that they need to stop discriminating against persons with disabilities. They need to support persons with disabilities in the attainment of their sexual and reproductive health and rights. They need to also be a voice, to join the advocacy for inclusive health services, access to sexual and reproductive health for persons with disabilities, especially women and girls, and generally to end discrimination and reduce all forms of violence against persons with disabilities, especially women and girls. There's this notion in our society that persons with disabilities are asexual. This means that they cannot have sex or they do not have sex or sexual feelings. And this can be quite detrimental and counterproductive because it affects the way we view them. So you find areas where a woman with a disability, for instance, is sterilized because she's had multiple pregnancies in a number of years. And so the doctor on his own decides to sterilize her and cut her tubes without her knowledge, without her consent, just because they feel like she shouldn't be having sex, talk less of getting pregnant.
Tunisia don't confirm their first case of the new coronavirus, and the health minister, Abdelatif El-Maki, he took this one for a news conference inside Tunis. The health ministry say the patient, now a 40-year-old Tunisian man, who say show back from Italy. And they say they still confirmed 2 new cases of novel coronavirus infection inside Algeria. The 2 cases, a 54-year-old woman and a 24-year-old girl Pekin, where say that they stay for the northern province of Blida, some 50 kilometers to the southwest of the capital city, Algiers. There are 2 tests positive for the new coronavirus after they show back to France on February 21st. All right, the next one, foreign news. Onto foreign, they say Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he don't win for Israel general election after the election put him ahead of his main rival, Benny Gantz. 3 projections give Netanyahu right-wing party 36 or 37 seats, and Gantz a centrist blue and white alliance between 32 and 34. But the election should say Likud and their right-wing allies fit fall short for 1 majority for parliament. Monday election na Israel third election for less than 1 year. The two main party, Oga, no fit command one majority for the 126th parliament for the last 2 rounds. Health officials talk on Monday say the new coronavirus sickness don't kill 6 people for the C2 area as authorities across the United States they ginger to prepare for more infections with one worker to carry the testing capacity go front. Dr. Jeff Dushin, who be health officer for the C2 and the King County Public Health Agency, he talk as people when they die to go up from the before to inside the Washington state. She talked for one news conference, say 8 of the 14 total cases for jurisdiction, they linked to one outbreak when happened for one nursing facility inside the C2 suburb of Kirkland, when 4 people when and die, then join.
Unfortunately, we are now starting to find more COVID-19 cases in Washington that appear to be acquired locally here in Washington. And we now know that the virus is actively spreading in some communities here in Washington.
We want to get our testing capacity as high as possible. I said to the people around this table that I would like to have a goal of 1,000 tests per day.
We're also moving with maximum speed to develop therapies so that we can help people recover as quickly as possible.
All right, the next one, our business news. And for business, they say oil price go up for the second day on Tuesday for expectation. Say central banks fit put financial growth for balance of putting the coronavirus outbreak don't cause. And a growing confidence say OPEC will order deeper output cut this week. Brent crude go up with $1.26 per barrel or 2.4% to $53.16 per barrel. While West Texas Intermediate go up with $1.24 or 2.7% to $47.99 a barrel. Meanwhile, Brent and WTI don't bounce back somehow for the past 2 days from more than 20% drop from their 2020 peak for January, when we say they signed the coronavirus spread, when we say cause, when we say don't affect fuel demand. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on Monday say they stand gidigba to help member countries to slide the human and economic challenge of the coronavirus outbreak when we say they work anyhow through emergency finding. For one collabo, when we say they say the two joint, but they say they focus especially for poor countries where we say health system they weak, and they tell member countries to strengthen health surveillance and response system to contain the spread of the virus. The statement say international cooperation are what they need to deal with the health and economic impact of COVID-19 virus. Still ahead on the Top Plus TV Africa News, now we're round up for entertainment and sports with the show back.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
Coronavirus, it's a viral infection. And the new coronavirus that we're all talking about, novel coronavirus, it's part of a family of various coronaviruses that do exist.
If anybody is not prepared right now, I would say it's carelessness, because it is something we all knew was going to come.
Symptoms to look out for, the main ones are cough, high fever, and respiratory distress. That just means breathing difficulties.
I will say no country is prepared for coronavirus as it is.
Really? Prevention is key, and hand hygiene is key when we are talking about this.
Alcohol does not kill it. You just need to take a lot of water.
So
taking a lot of
hydrate
water,
your system.
Hydrate yourself.
There is no cure right now. The only thing that we have to help us right now, prevention.
Awesome.
And on to entertainment, they say recording industry group IFPI talk on Monday say pop superstar Taylor Swift, he topped the list of the world best-selling music artist for 2019. And thanks to the success of her album Lover, when we say beat popular acts like Korean pop sensation BTS. That is the second time when we say the 30-year-old singer-songwriter, he don't lead for recorded music sales globally. The first one, now for 2014, when we say she debuted her album 1989. That's when we say he did the back of Swift for the 2019 ranking, na British singer, songwriter Ed Sheeran, and followed by rapper Post Malone and teen singer Billie Eilish, when we see they take the top Grammy Award for January. Queen, the rock band, when we see they formed inside London from 1970, land for the 5th place. The group music enjoyed one increase after the release of the Freddie Mercury biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody, Lover, when we say the Swift's 7th studio album, and joined them for the hit like the title track, One Ballad, and the upbeat single, Me. That one for entertainment, the next one, now for sport. And for sport, they say the English football governing body don't charge Everton Oga Carlo Ancelotti for carry do after they send and come off from match for Sunday fixture against Manchester United. The Italian waka go talk to the center referee for the final whistle after they throw away inside late goal saying offside. Ancelotti no go get touchline ban, but they go fine him £80,000 if £8,000 if he agree for the charge before Thursday deadline. All right, now for you go back break on top this very o'clock for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. For better and plenty information, follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And go make better sense now subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We go see the summer and plenty other to read them as time they go. My name na Promise Nero. And I thank you now to join us. Now, well done.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I'm here at Eunice Bashorin Street. Where
the fire destroyed our transformer completely. The lowest level you can.
Plus TV Africa, the big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Almost every Nigerian wants to leave the country, but do they understand what it means to be a global citizen?
The reason why people were leaving Nigeria 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and even until now, is essentially because they want to survive. Movement is a human duty, right? You have to move. Part of the biggest problem in Nigeria is we produce what we don't consume, and we consume what we don't produce. There's no economy in the world that can survive on that equation. The idea of running away to another country, undocumented, hiding, compromising your dignity, take baser positions in those societies, marry people you hate, hibernate all your life, dwarf your most important dreams and aspirations, take a compromise in the name of the pursuit of economics, embrace toil, otherwise called hustle, and lose your meaning and your purpose totally. You will play the majority game pretending to be happy, or you'll be sad and miserable for the rest of your life. So my goal, my thinking is that instead of thinking relocation, we should think penetration.
and welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. I'm your host, Irene Ubani, and in the studio with me is my co-host,
Morimi Ako.
Okay, so today we have an amazing guest, Tina Shire. She's a commercial lawyer and now the founder and CEO of Zulin Restaurant. We'll take a quick break now. Do stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. All right, Tina, from being a commercial lawyer to the owner of a restaurant, tell us about it.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Sure.
Yes, I trained as a lawyer. That was my first passion. And then, of course, my first love, more to say. And then my passion, which is now the culinary space. So yes, it was a bit of soul searching for me to get to where I am today. There was a lot of what ifs in the process, but thank God we're here today, so yes. And I'm still a lawyer. It never will go away.
Oh, great.
Yes, and some of the skills, thankfully, are transferable from, analytical skills from the law. I use it also in my culinary business, so yes.
Interesting. So moving from law to being a restaurateur, it was a major move, right?
Definitely.
So how was the transition?
So like I said, it was not without its back end or shortcuts. There was a kairos moment, actually. Let me just start from there to say that I had a talk with my mentor, and she told me, what is it you're really afraid of? Because I had my what ifs, or if I go into the business and it doesn't pan out well, what will happen and all of that. And she just said, Tina, you're still young. It's better you go for it now. In your 40s or 50s, you will regret not making that move. And then you cannot change, you cannot turn back the hands of time. What is the worst that could happen? Is maybe the business fails, and so you dust your CV, get back to your work, and get right back to it. And for me, that was a kairos moment because I struggled a lot with leaving the law to go start something else. So when she said that to me, that was all I needed to know. And then I went on with my passion.
Great.
Yes.
I mean, when it comes to businesses that have to do with restaurants, we have over 2,000 restaurants here in Lagos. So how were you able to create a niche for yourself?
So coming into a restaurant business is a very competitive business, definitely. You have to know your unique selling proposition, your USP. So for us, we did a lot of work in terms of trying to find out what will make us different, how we can come out different, how our customers specifically can have a different experience as Zulin. So that's what we really did to come to that.
Okay, so you've just said how you've been able to do some things differently, but
Yes.
most importantly, how have you been able to position your business for profit?
Okay, so yes, like I said, our unique selling purpose, first of all, we are in Ikoyi. If you know Ikoyi very well, there are not a lot of restaurants around there. Yes, especially where we are. There's not even a restaurant around there. So we did our visibility studies to find out exactly what the sort of customers that we'll be catering to at the time and how we can go about it. We found out that a lot of the people around us are busy working moms. A lot of people are also the older class of people, because those are the people that stay in Ikoyi who are very accomplished, and so their taste is on the high side. Yeah. So we had to, yes, the high end. So I said, okay, even if we are to cater for even the young, the old, we had the range of people to cater for, but we're supposed to be excellent at what we do. So for our food and our offerings, it has to stand out because of the sort of markets we're catering to. So yes, that was really key for us. And because of that, what we did differently from other restaurants was we opened 6 months before without catering to the outside world. We did training for our staff for a good 6 months.
Wow, that's
yes,
a lot of training.
yeah, we did a lot of training and back end stuff before we eventually, and then we had people come over to try us and all of that, maybe friends and family, before we eventually opened to the public.
That was very important. I mean, I think that was a very good place to start. What do you think?
I think that was awesome. Training for 6 months.
Because you know, sometimes when you go to all of these restaurants, their staff puts you off. Because I think the owners probably just focus on the service they are rendering are not understanding that right from the gate.
Yeah.
The
Customer
security,
service.
exactly, customer service is very important as well. All right, so moving forward, what are those basic things that you need to know before starting a restaurant? Especially in Lagos, is there something different?
There's a lot of things. I mean, first of all, you must have capital. It's a capital-intensive business in terms of space. And then for a startup business, it's advised by most business schools that you have a working capital for at least a year, 6 months to be modest.
Oh.
So, yes, you have like a working capital, you have monies. So either you've secured a loan, you have income from family and friends, but you have a sort of capital, you know. And then if you're going to go into a limited business, you have your filings with the CAC and all of that. And then you know the sort of taxes you're supposed to be paying to the government, FIRS, LIRS, and then the local government. Because those people can shut you down. There's no, ignorance is not an excuse, yeah? And then, of course, your type of business, which for us, you know, is the restaurant business. We have to have the required skill both in the kitchen and in the front of house, which is our service staff and our chefs. You know, so we train for the skill, and then, you know, people you're going to train or they're going to have different experiences from wherever they're coming. But we had what we wanted our own staff to have. So we had to train them to say, this is how we would like or we would rather have it done in Zolin, you understand? So we had our Zolin style. And it took some time, and it still takes a lot of time, you know, and then training again is not a one-off. So that 6 months we did, it will amaze you to know that in the 7 months that had gone, you understand? It's a continuous process where you have to train. And then in the restaurant business, you have a lot of turnover of staff. You know, thankfully, I mean, we've had a lot of staff who started with us, still remain with us. We're thankful. Of course, some have gone.
Yeah,
but so the ones that have stayed back helped to shape sort of, because they already know the norms and the standards, and people that come in, they sort of try to, you know, fit in to the norm and standard, and then keep on training. It's a weekly thing.
Oh, weekly?
Yes, for the service business, that's how much.
So for that 6 months, were you scared at any point, or did you have the fear of, oh my goodness, I hope when I'm done training these people, they won't just leave?
I mean, so for business and everything, you know, everything can happen or anything can happen.
Actually, so many.
So you have to get prepared.
Yes, it can even happen that all of them will go. It won't stop me from running the business, right? I already had structures in place and things to do when there's an issue like that. Thankfully, you know, I did some chef's training. I have the passion to do, you know, cook and all of that. But of course, as the restaurateur of the business, the founder, I thought it wise to get chefs. You know, we work together, and then we create the menu and all of that, and then we do things together. But I didn't want to stay back in the kitchen because I had other things to supervise, the innovation, you know, managerial, yes. So overseeing of the entire business was more paramount, you know, than all of that. So yes, it's been a wonderful experience, really.
I mean, I like the point you just made about structure, having structures in place.
Yes,
so, yeah, very, very important. So how long did it take you to go from, you know, from concept to implementation?
So, like, you know, thankfully I got a lot of scholarships. I mean, for my law degree, I had studied abroad in the University of London. And then for me, I just knew that for a business and a small business or an entrepreneur, an abroad education may not really cut it. So I really desire to say, how can I learn from the people who have in the same environment?
Understand the local market.
Yes, who know how it feels when there's no light. There is no, you understand, the staff are behaving a certain way. How do I learn? So I got a scholarship from the African Managers Initiative, and it was also in collaboration with the EDC, Enterprise Development. So they trained us the local content, the local market, and I thought, yes, this is good. This is what I really want to run the business. So I had a better understanding of what it takes, to run a business in Nigeria. Yes, I already knew. I'm like, okay, no surprises. You know, those days will come, definitely, when you feel, oh my goodness, what is going on and all of that. Thankfully, there are also days when you're happy that you are in it. So take, for instance, over the weekend, we were nominated as one of the top 100 fastest growing SMEs in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Thank you. So those are the kind of things, that gives us,
that
joy.
Keeps you going.
And
you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, somebody sees that, the hard work is paying off, and I'm like, thank you,
Oh,
thank
well
you,
done.
thank you.
That's amazing. All right, so we're going to take a quick break now. We'll take a quick break now. Do stay with us. We're still speaking with Tina Shirey. All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Yeah, Tina, when businesses want to start, most times people complain about finances and funding. So how were you able to source for funding for your business?
Okay, well...
I mean, you are in a very prime location,
Ikoyi. Yes.
We're going to pay you a visit, by the way.
Yes, please do. Time and chance happened for me. I had a bit of savings, and I had family and friends supporting me. Like I said, I also had a scholarship. It also came with a Bank of Industry loan, which was a single-digit loan for a couple of million. So that's how I really started. So I had family and friends, I had personal savings, family and friends, and then from BOI.
But how easy was it getting funding from BOI?
Exactly.
So the thing is, because they're a bit of, they really want to be sure of how they're lending and if your business is profitable. And I do not blame them, because we're a startup, we'll say all that we can say to say, okay, this is what will happen.
Exactly. I mean, they're in business for business, not for charity.
So, I mean, on their end, I won't fault them in the sense that they had no track record to really say, so for now, I'm 2 years in the business. If I go, they'll want to see my records. And based on that, in fact, we have been having a lot of calls to say, how about you come and lend, or we'll come and, but we want the business to grow organically, right? So we take funds when we need it. But for now, we're saying the business is making its own profits, and we're turning it over back into the business to make more profits. So we don't want to, borrow from everywhere. Another school of thought thinks that is different, but everybody with their own sort of approach to this thing called entrepreneurship, right?
I mean, based on what you just said, I know that I've heard you're not the first person that is saying it's really risky and not reasonable to borrow what you do not need. At what point did you really know as a business that I need more funds, or I need to get a loan? Because it seems as though there are some businesses that kill themselves by getting more loan.
Yeah, so the thing is, for us, we have our business plan. We have said, for instance, in the 5th year, we'll look at getting another location. Okay. Hopefully, the business will be able to meet up with the demands for a new location. But if not, we may consider getting a loan at that point, but not before then. So for major expenses like that, you can consider getting a loan. For us, because the loan from BOI was really cheap as against benchmarking against our commercial markets or commercial banks, we thought to go with it. Not like we really needed it that much. We were really focused on how the business can grow organically.
Okay. I mean, that's amazing, because like she said, people would advise you don't go for loans if you don't need them. That try to do stuff within your means.
But for you to grow your business, let me just put a balance to it. For you to grow your business, you need some form of funding, some sort of funding. Sorry.
But just make sure you need it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not for spendthrift, possible.
Because someone has said to me before that the money that people actually think they need money to expand, but it's probably not money that's the problem. They probably need to work on their internal structure and stuff.
Some innovation,
to keep it going. It's not just about the money.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, how localized is your business in terms of ambience, food, and every other thing? How localized is it?
So we're a contemporary African restaurant, a contemporary African and fusion restaurant. So
what we need to visit.
So what we do is we're saying this is new Nigeria, this is new Africa. Our parents, our grandparents came up with these recipes that we love so much. So what we did was to infuse our Western influence onto those.
What? Can you give us,
so for instance, akara, rather than deep frying the akara, we put it on the waffle maker. One is sweeter, another is healthier. You can't even imagine how it tastes.
Maker.
Yes. So
you see what we should be.
But, I mean, there's a particular technique to it. So if you try it at home and it doesn't work, be sure to come and visit us, right? So, and then of course we have for pesto lovers, for instance, pesto is an international meal. We're eclectic like that. So we say, okay, you use the foreign products to make pesto. We now decided to use our local ingredients, our African basil, scent leaf, our Panya cheese, the cheese grown in the north, to make our own pesto. That's one of our signature dishes as well. So the sort of things that we do, we add some key ingredients to some key meals, and you'll be amazed how adding some different spices, and herbs to a meal just changes the whole.
Now you're getting me hungry. You're getting me hungry.
So, I mean, there are times when, in a bid to increase your profit margin, you realize that some of these businesses start to dwindle in terms of the quality. So how are you able to measure this up?
So then again, you must look again into every time we go back to our planning, our business plan, because it's easy to lose track of focus. Yes. So you have to be intentional on how you want to run. A lot of people will come with ideas. How about you do this? How about you sell this? You understand? But know what you're capable of, your strengths, your staff strength, first of all.
Niche market.
Yes. And then if you want to expand or you want to grow in terms of the production that you make, your staff has to grow. The staff strength has to grow. The cost, the inventory cost will increase. What people try to do is when they want to increase the demand or they increase the supply of the product, they don't want to also increase the back end, the staff or the inventory list. It won't work. That will happen. What will happen then is the reduction in the quality.
Economics in this.
Pardon, yes, in the quality of what you bring out. Yes, it's only, So for you, there has to be a commercial rate increase in every other thing for you to increase the sort of supplies that you give out. I don't know if I've explained what.
I get that bit.
Yeah, so pretty much, yes.
Okay, so earlier on, I can remember you mentioned that you need to register with the CAC and the FIRS and all of that, if you want to start the business. What other permits do you need to get in starting up a restaurant?
Okay, so you'd have so there are different permits. Time will fail me to, but there is food and safety, there's water, there are different permits you get. If you want to have a signage, you have to do the LASA, right? Is it LASMA? Something like that. They do the signage. And then there's a lot of permits, but I just mentioned a few.
So is it cumbersome? Is it easy to get those permits usually?
Anything worth doing is not as easy as it gets, but you go for it anyway. There's a lot of hassle with, especially in our Nigerian space, to be honest, the bureaucracy with the government and all of that. Some of them can get a bit...
Necessary evil, you mean?
Get a bit cumbersome in the process. That's how, we run in Nigeria, unfortunately, but, you have to get to it and do what you need to do. Again, it falls back to doing business in the Nigerian space. When I went for the business day event over the weekend, they asked somebody, an entrepreneur, how has it been with you? And guess what he said? You have to be mad to run a business in Nigeria. That's what he said in his words. And I could relate because some days are like, my goodness, what's going on? So yes, you get those days. And then...
I think it's fantastic what you said earlier about you getting training, in Nigeria about how it is doing business in Nigeria.
You need to understand the local market.
Definitely, you can't, I train, that's why I've just put the background that I trained abroad, but it's different. They are having different issues from what we are having.
When you expand to the American and UK markets, then you can use that hat. But right now, you need Ijebu kind of. Okay, but then Zolene is 2 years. Have you been able to break even?
Yes, we have. So in the first year, we're able to meet our cost and expense. Just like I said, the business they had awarded us, they asked for our account details and all of that, and we shared it with them for them to come to their conclusion. So yes, we're happy. It's a good place to be, but of course it can be better at any time. We aim for. So the idea is to always aim higher.
That means you're extremely prudent in your spending.
Yes, we try to work on a lot of things, financing and all of that. So we had a lot of structure from the get-go, and I think that really works and helps businesses. There's no shortcut to it. Like I cannot just dip my hand into the business purse. No.
Right. To buy a weave on.
No way.
Okay. When we're talking earlier, we spoke about staff.
Yes.
Tell me about your experiences with getting staff for the business.
So yes, we're in a stressing environment.
She literally
had to pause to think about it.
So yes, for the level of staff that we work with, I don't know if it's, a lot of things is involved. You have to train them. And it's not a one-off training. You have to keep talking about it. Like I said, it's a continuous process of having. And then for us, we had our values, which is one of them was ownership. And then what I do is I hire for attitude and I train for skill.
Yes. Hire for attitude, train for skill.
Yes, because for me, you can have the best skills, but if you don't have the attitude, you will run the business down.
Oh my goodness.
You will run the business down. And I've seen it. I've experienced it. That's why I came to the resolve that I will hire. So we have select questions we ask to be able to find out the sort of attitude that the person has towards life.
Help those ones that are watching and want to hire for attitude and no skill. What are those select questions?
No, just from just practical questions. Maybe they've worked before. Tell me a particular scenario. How did you act, or how did you handle it? Some of them we go they'll tell you all sorts. I'm like, oh, yes, interesting. But I've taken notes of what I want to take notes of, and based on that, I'll make my decision, right? So.
Okay, so what challenges have you faced during your 2 years in business?
There's a lot of challenges in running a business in Nigeria, to be honest. I had challenges with the government because we, as a small business, I will pay 3 FIRS, LIRS, ETIOSA, all on one business. And I'm trying, so for me, I'm like, we're trying to increase the quota. Well, a lot of people would have been roaming the streets, but we hired those people. That is what we have done as entrepreneurs and as small business. But they don't see that. But they want us to pay this and all of that, which is okay. But, a lot of stress involved with that. And, of course, the staff themselves. So I'm thankful that I have a couple of good ones, like I've said before. If you get a good staff, you do all you can to keep them. Because I can tell you for free, a lot of people, are not really vested in what they're doing. They just want to make money quick. I think it's the new trend or something, quick money. Yes, quick fix, or we must all hammer. Everybody, we must all make money. You understand? Nobody wants to try and grow anything in their mind, and it's a good thing. I think that's the sort of spirit that we all Nigerians have, which is different from the other parts of the world. Like somebody, abroad can say, I'm going to be a plumber for the rest of my life. But I think it's different in Nigeria. I'm a plumber, but one day.
Yes, we'll have
it's good to be
ambitious.
Thank you. It's good to be ambitious and all of that. I'm not saying that is wrong, but I'm just saying that in the time that you're a plumber, how well have you done the job? That is what we're working with. Yeah. So we're structured. Like us now. I have my employee manual. I have my appraisal, and my expectations of you as a staff. So after 3 months, we'll do it. So it's structure for me. It's a whole lot of things, right? So that's how I...
All right, that's great. And that's where we'll end for now, sadly. But thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
My absolute pleasure. Yes.
And that's all on Ladies Talking Business at this hour. For more educative and informative conversations of this nature, do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. From my co-host, Morami, and I, it's goodbye and catch you next time. Bye.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
Coronavirus, it's a viral infection. And the new coronavirus that we're all talking about, novel coronavirus, it's part of a family of various coronaviruses that do exist.
If anybody is not prepared right now, I would say it's carelessness. because it is something we all knew was going to come.
Symptoms to look out for, the main ones are cough, high fever, and respiratory distress. That just means breathing difficulties.
I will say no country is prepared for coronavirus as it is.
Really? Prevention is key, and hand hygiene is key when we are talking about this.
Alcohol does not kill it. You just need to take a lot of water.
So
taking a lot of
hydrate
water,
your system.
Hydrate yourself.
There is no cure right now. The only thing that we have to help us right now, prevention.
Awesome.
Sometimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
As a young person growing up, I have had to sell akamu on my head. You know, yeah, on a tray. You go like in the morning, like very early in the morning before I go to school. Buy akamu, you know. That's why you should never underrate anyone, no matter the situation. You see them or you find them. When I go to UK and had to play at the Royal Festival Hall with Mary Makiba, then, oh my God, I'm like, that akamu selling girl. That was selling akamu. You know, so be inspired. Be inspired. Follow your dream. Follow your heart. Sit back and say, what is my passion in life? What can I do to better the world? And before you know it, you're already making an impact.
When I came to Lagos here after school, I remembered I entered what is called 911. 911 is a kind of lorry found then that they will load Gary, load in at the back. Then in between the driver and the load, we have what is called second class. And that is where I sat. And could you believe that by the time I got to Ido and I came down, my box, my shoe, because it took us 3 days from Bender, from Midwest to Lagos, all my loads were loaded. You see, when you pass through such, and when you become somebody, you look back and you look at what people are going through. It makes you to help others.
When I decided to be an apprentice photographer, we were living in Ebutimeta, and I would trek, from Ebutimeta into Willoughby, from Willoughby into cross the Leventis into Ido Road, past Ido railway station, go across the Kata Bridge, and then into Agbogbon, into Broad Street. And I trekked that for 1 whole year. And then finally when I got to London, I had to be a cleaner, every morning. Get out of the house by 4:30 to clean till 9 a.m. and then rush off to school. So I've done quite a lot of things like that, and I still continue to do that. And so for me, it is part of one's development. And I didn't see that I was suffering. Occasionally, you want to stop. You have cried many times. I've failed many times, but I've just got up. I get up again. A lot of people, I enjoy goodwill of some people who pull me up again and help me on my feet, and then I go on.
I finished that film and I became very famous. As young as I was, I didn't even know what it was. Film, everybody would just be calling me over. I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? When the film was all over the place, so I couldn't go to the market, and I used to go to the market a lot, to go and buy all these second-hand, all the second-hand outfits, and then there was one day I went to the market with a couple of my friends, and I just realized that I just couldn't buy these things anymore, because they would tease me. The market, the people in the market, the traders will always tease me and said, so you see, they come buy Pendam Boutique, So that made me realize that, so if I become a star, there are a lot of things I won't be able to do, or what? So I went back and I said to myself, is this how I'm going to live my life? I won't be who I want to be. I won't be myself. And I said, no, I won't let that catch up with me. Just be who you are, no matter your craft, no matter how high you think you've become. Still be that same person that the girl next door, still the girl or the boy next door that people can always relate to.
This is news on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. And here are the headlines making the headlines. I am Benny Ark. The presidency has expressed deep sadness and regret over the latest bandits attack in Kaduna State that killed several people and left many injured, assuring that the Buhari administration would not be blackmailed by criminals. Garba Shehu, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, stated this in a statement in Abuja on Monday. The presidential aide quoted President Muhammad Buhari to have assured the people of Kaduna State and other parts of the country that the government would continue to deploy all available resources to fight these cold-hearted bandits with a view to bringing them to their knees. The president, while expressing profound commiserations to the victims of the heinous attack in Kaduna State, sent a strong warning to the killers, saying they cannot be lucky always. The National Christian Elders Forum, NCEF, yesterday expressed sadness over the rising spate of insecurity in the country. It appealed to former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and General Theophilus Danjuma to put aside their differences and intervene on Christians on behalf of the Christians. The NCEF stated this in a communique issued at a meeting in Lagos and signed by its chairman, Solomon Asemota, SAN. About 25 repentant members of the Boko Haram insurgents with their wives and children had been received in Maiduguri by the Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Hajia Zuwaira Zagambo, on behalf of the state government. The repentant insurgents laid down their arms to the troops in Niger Republic. They landed in Maiduguri International Airport with military aircraft and headed to Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center. Handing over the repentant insurgents, the coordinator of the Safe Corridor Program, Major General Bamidele Shafa, said the former insurgents were well rehabilitated by the federal government Operation Safe Corridor Program. He also encouraged other insurgents in the bush to surrender. Speaking to newsmen while receiving the surrendered Boko Haram, Hajia Zuwaira Gambo said the rehabilitation center is ready to rehabilitate and de-radicalize the returnees and also provide the necessary support and education as well as psychological support before uniting them with their families.
Behave according to the dictates of our constitution and abide by the rules and laws of this nation. They have lived out of the shores of this country and have been brought here to be reunited with their families. So ours at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center is to provide them with the psychosocial support, to feed them, to clothe them, and give them some basic form of education on behalf of the government of Borno State. This is a center that His Excellency the Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulu, gives so much attention to and provides us with the necessary support to ensure that these guests are rehabilitated and given the required training in various skills and then reunited with their families.
Joining us now from Abuja via phone is a security expert, Kabir Adamu. Good afternoon, Kabir.
Good afternoon.
Now, what do you make of this ongoing rehabilitation of these repentant Boko Haram members into the society?
So it's going by the template laid out by the government. It actually started in 2014 under former President Goodluck Jonathan when they launched the countering violent extremism mechanism. Now, that mechanism has under it a component called Operation Safe Corridor. And the idea of that, operation is to de-radicalize repentant Boko Haram members, make sure they are completely de-radicalized, and then release them to the society. My understanding of that framework is that civilian experts would use knowledge, psychological, economical, social, political knowledge, put those repentant terrorists through those skills acquisition sets and other mechanisms. And then once they are confirmed, then they will now release them.
Now, many Nigerians have expressed diverse opinions and if we can really trust government with this program of Safe Corridor, and how do we begin to measure how de-radicalized these repentant insurgents might be? What are the parameters we can use to say, you know what, they're indeed repentant and de-radicalized?
Well, if the original plan, that, as I understand it, is followed, then I don't think Nigerians have anything to be afraid of. Because like I said, the original plan was to have a group of experts, about 12 different expert departments that would handle the operation. And then at the end of the day, certify that if people are de-radicalized. Currently, I'm not too sure that is being followed. I know the military is leading that, and I'm a bit uncomfortable about that. So on the one hand, you have the unclear mechanisms or information sharing mechanism by the Nigerian government. And then on the other hand, you have this seeming overbearance of the military in the whole program. So I think, yes, the Nigerians should be concerned to the extent that the government has not been very clear about the whole program.
Kabil, this is another concern that's been expressed by a cross-section of Nigerians, that these insurgents have killed people, they've killed children, they've killed women, they've rendered many people homeless, and that this program seems to be undermining the entire welfare and integrity and security of Nigerians who, by the way, will have been victims of these operations of the insurgents. How do you react to this?
I have read extensively the concept of countering violent extremism, and it is meant to take care of that particular concern. The school of thought that believes that terrorism should not be dealt with through military approach alone, for the simple reason that it is a homegrown issue. So I think that is where the key lies. The government needs to explain more to Nigerians that this is not the hierarchy, top hierarchy of the terrorist group. My understanding is that there are 4 ladders in the hierarchy of the terrorists, and this only affects those members that perhaps are not in those ideological hierarchy, who are far gone, as it were, who are responsible for those type of killings. You cannot, and I repeat this, you cannot, quote and unquote, forgive or talk to those ideological hierarchy, groups of terrorists that are behind the killings, as it were.
Now, Kabir, you are a security expert. Do you think this is a welcome development, as the government is also planning to give them educational support, knowing fully well that the ideology of Boko Haram is against Western education, as it is?
Yes, I'm supportive of the counter-violent extremism mechanism. Like I mentioned earlier on, that mechanism is internationally recognized and is approved. But is that what Nigeria is currently implementing? We need more information from the government to understand exactly what the government is doing. And unless that kind of information is made available, then it's difficult to endorse this or not.
Okay, now aside sentiments, what would you say are the likely benefits of rehabilitating them?
Well, like the whole concept of counterinsurgency talks about taking care of the root causes of terrorism. So that's the most important element, because the radicalization attacks the root cause of terrorism. That is the false interpretation of the doctrines that have led them to be recruited. So if it is implemented the way we understand it, then it means it's denying the terrorists the ability to recruit. They are going to be ambassadors for Nigeria. In other words, they will be able to speak against the false recruitment by terrorists. And if you're able to deny the terrorists the ability to recruit, then frankly, you are seeing the end of terrorism. So for me, that's the #1 benefit.
Now, before I let you go, Kabil, looks like they aren't waiting for the bill to become a law. Centers are up and ready. Your reaction, please.
Well, the bill is different from countering violent extremism, which is in the Office of the National Security Advisor. I don't think that is what the countering violent extremism, but this particular bill is talking about setting up a commission. I am personally not in support of that commission, for the simple reason that we already have a Northeast Development Commission. We also have the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and several other government departments, including NEMA, that are able to carry out the responsibility that this commission is being envisaged would carry out.
Security expert Kabir Damu, thank you very much for joining us on News on the Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Still in the news, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, says it has deployed personnel to the notorious Abuja-Kaduna Highway to ensure the safety of motorists and communities residing along the road corridor. The state commander at Kaduna, Babangida Dutsema, made this known to newsmen in Kaduna, the state capital, as they marked the 2020 International Civil Defense Day with the theme Civil Defense as a First Aider in Every Home. Mr. Dutsema says the state command is ready to rid the popular highway of notorious kidnappers and bandits.
The current deployment of personnel to Golden Acres, located in kilometer 52, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, and Operation Thunder Strike and Operation Yagi, among others, are intense security, which is yielding gradually result, and even though much is expected from it. But from the little contribution we are able to make, people of Kaduna State could testify that we are making a lot of impact. Statutorily, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is tasked by law to provide 24-hour surveillance on critical and national infrastructures to prevent same from activities of the vandals.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says a clear-cut set of strategies to curb the proliferation of small and light weapons will soon be developed. Osinbajo spokesman Laolu Akande, in a statement on Monday, said that the vice president met with top security chiefs and members of the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, PRESCOM, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. At the last National Security Council meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari had directed the vice president to chair a committee to review the report of the PRESCOM, constituted in April 2013. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has revealed there is no new case of coronavirus in Nigeria. The minister, Dr. Osage Ehaniwe, revealed to newsmen in Abuja that the Italian national, who was officially diagnosed as the first index case in the country, has been under close observation by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, the NCDC, and is showing only mild symptoms of the infection. Dr. Ehaniwe says those that have been quarantined around the country have so far tested negative. He urged Nigerians to shun sharing information capable of misleading the public and spreading fear and panic.
We are continuing with this initiative to keep the public properly abreast of developments and to avoid misinformation and disinformation that is rampant in newspapers sometimes and also in the social media particularly. The Multi-Sectoral Emergency Operations Center is led by NCDC and was activated on the 28th of February 2020. It continues to coordinate national response activities. As at the 1st of March, there is no new confirmed case in Nigeria. About 13 or 14 tests have been done, and except that one patient, no other person has been diagnosed. There were 156 passengers on the manifest of the flights that brought the index case. The contacts of the index case are identified as 19 contacts in Lagos, 39 contacts in Ogun State. We are in touch with these contacts who are under supervised self-isolation, and the states have provided them with temperature monitoring tools.
The Disability Rights Advocacy Center, DRAC, has called on Nigerians to change its perception of persons living with disabilities. The executive director of DRAC, Irene Patrick Ogbobu, spoke to newsmen during a two-day training session for media practitioners on the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls living with disabilities. Mrs. Patrick Ogbobu says there is negative stereotype on persons living with disabilities in the public space, especially regarding their sexual orientation and sexual wants.
The purpose of training the media is so that they can reach the people and let the people know that they need to stop discriminating against persons with disabilities. They need to support persons with disabilities in the attainment of their sexual and reproductive health and rights. They need to also be a voice, to join the advocacy for inclusive health services, access to sexual and reproductive health for persons with disabilities, especially women and girls, and generally to end discrimination and reduce all forms of violence against persons with disabilities, especially women and girls. There's this notion in our society that persons with disabilities are asexual. This means that they cannot have sex, or they do not have sex or sexual feelings. And this can be quite detrimental and counterproductive, because it affects the way we view them. So you find areas where a woman with a disability, for instance, is sterilized because she's had multiple pregnancies in a number of years, and so the doctor on his own decides to sterilize her and cut her tubes without her knowledge, without her consent, just because they feel like she shouldn't be having sex, talk less of getting pregnant.
The news will continue after the short break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay. And now across the African continent, Senegal's health minister on Monday announced the first case of coronavirus in the country, the second case in sub-Saharan Africa after one was confirmed in Nigeria last week. The rapid spread of the new coronavirus has increased fears of pandemic, prompting governments to step up control measures and sending global financial markets into a dive. The patient is a Frenchman who lives in Senegal and came back from a skiing holiday in France on February 26 on an Air Senegal flight. Health Minister Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr told reporters he passed a temperature check at the capital Dakar's main airport on his return, but developed a fever 2 days later. Meanwhile, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General for Libya, Ghassan Salame, has resigned his appointment, citing health reasons. Spokesman of the UN chief, Mr. Stefan Dujarric, confirmed the development to UN correspondents in New York on Monday after Salame announced the resignation in a tweet. My health no longer allows this pace of stress, so I asked the Secretary General to relieve me of my mission, hoping for peace and stability in Libya, he wrote. Dujarric said the Secretary General Antonio Guterres had received Salame's resignation letter and would meet with him later to discuss smooth transition. Up next is our foreign news. Pope Francis, who cancelled a Lent retreat for the first time in his papacy because he's suffering from a cold, has tested negative for coronavirus, the Italian newspaper Tu Messaggero reported on Tuesday. The 83-year-old Roman Catholic leader, who had part of one lung removed because of an illness decades ago, also cancelled most audiences last week. South Korea's president declared war on the coronavirus on Tuesday, ordering additional hospital beds and more face masks to be made available as the number of cases rose by 600 in the worst epidemic of any nation outside China. President Moon Jae-in apologized for shortages of face masks and promised support for virus-hit small businesses in Asia's fourth biggest economy, which has now reported 4,812 cases of the flu-like disease and 34 deaths. President Moon ordered masks to be stockpiled as a strategic item so suppliers can produce them without the risk of surpluses. Also, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory in Israel's general election after exit polls put him ahead of his main rival, Benny Gantz. Three projections gave Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party 36 or 37 seats and Gantz's centrist blue and white alliance between 32 and 34. However, the poll suggested Likud and his right-wing allies might fall short of a majority in parliament. Monday's election was Israel's third in less than a year. Neither of the two main party leaders was able to command a majority in the 120-seat parliament following the last two rounds. Coming up next is our business news. Oil prices rose for a second day on Tuesday on expectations that central banks are likely to enact financial stimulus to offset the impacts of the coronavirus outbreak and growing optimism that OPEC will order deeper output quotas this week. Brent crude rose $1.26 per barrel, or 2.4% to $53.16 per barrel, while West Texas International rose $1.24, or 2.7% to $47.99 a barrel. Meanwhile, Brent and the World Trade Index have rebounded somewhat over the past 2 days from a more than 20% drop from their 2020 peak in January, caused by signs the coronavirus spread has dented fuel demand. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on Monday said they stood ready to help member countries address the human and economic challenges of the fast-spreading coronavirus outbreak, including through emergency funding. In a joint statement, the two institutions said they were focused especially on poor countries where health systems are weakest and urged member countries to strengthen health surveillance and response systems to contain the spread of the virus, the statement said. International cooperation is essential to deal with the health and economic impact of the COVID-19 virus. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
Coronavirus, it's a viral infection. And the new coronavirus that we're all talking about, novel coronavirus, it's part of a family of various coronaviruses that do exist.
If anybody is not prepared right now, I would say it's carelessness, because it is something we all knew was going to come.
Symptoms to look out for, the main ones are cough, high fever, and respiratory distress. That just means breathing difficulties.
I will say no country is prepared for coronavirus as it is.
Really? Prevention is key and hand hygiene is key when we are talking about this.
Alcohol does not kill it. You just need to take a lot of water.
So
taking a lot of
hydrate
water,
your system.
Hydrate yourself.
There is no cure right now. The only thing that we have to help us right now, prevention.
Awesome.
The moment he came with that message of you don't expect me to treat the 97% the same way I would treat the 5%, that was a statement of division.
I haven't even heard. I did not know that this had come up again.
Really?
I didn't know it had gone into second reading. So thank you for mentioning it. This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard. To think that these people can raid this country, destroy this country, and then ask for immunity.
Isn't democracy the government of the people, by the people, for the people?
That's what it should be.
And at what point did we give the power within this democracy, of this democracy, to the people we have voted?
The Constitution is not we, the people, as we have it today. It's not we, the people, that promulgate. That Constitution is not us.
It has nothing to do with
It's something that was foisted on us.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I'm here at Yunus Bashorin Street.
Where the fire destroyed our transformer complete as well.
The lowest level you can.
Plus TV Africa, the big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Authorities have launched internal investigations into reports suggesting first responders at Kobe Bryant helicopter crash site took photos of victims' remains and shared them with friends and colleagues. The Los Angeles Lakers basketball legend and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, were among the 9 people who lost their lives on January 26, 2020, when the aircraft they were traveling in crashed in Calabasas, California. According to the media, one trainee deputy tried to use the photos to quote-unquote impress a girl at the bar, prompting the bartender, who overheard the conversation, to file an online complaint with staffs at the sheriff's department. It also claimed that members of the Los Angeles County Fire Department had also passed around the shots, leading bosses of both organizations to set up formal inquiries into disrespectful and insensitive acts that seems to be going on. And that is it on entertainment news. The very best in sports coming right after this.
That money will shoot every person that we know can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
Since that time why I carry gonorrhea. I first go hospital first, but it no go. Now I come make that mama.
He just pulled it, he pointed and shot.
What is the soul of a man?
They suffer too much. They suffer too much. Issues around the Nigerian police. We have to tackle it holistically.
And in sports, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Sunday Dare, has said that the National Sports Festival tagged Edo 2020 will go on as planned amid rumor of postponement following the coronavirus case reported in the country. And speaking through the Sports Minister Director of the Planning Committee, Peter Nelson, the minister stated that the ministry has directed the setting up of isolation centers to take charge of any case of the virus, and work is in progress by the Edo State government to ensure a hitch-free festival. He further assured that the ministry has already embarked on an inspection of venues and facilities. The Edo State's National Sports Festival is scheduled to hold on the 22nd of March to the 1st of April 2020 in the Edo State capital. As in sports, Team Nigeria is set to take part in the 8 Nations Africa Cricket Association Africa Cup final in Nairobi, Kenya. And Nigeria will look to bounce back from the disappointing ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers in United Arab Emirates last November. And Nigeria and Ghana qualified for the tournaments during the West Africa qualifiers held in Lagos in April 2018. Now the Yellow Greens are drawn in Group A alongside West Africa rivals Ghana, Uganda and Malawi, while Group B will feature host Kenya, Botswana, Mozambique and Cameroon. The tournament, which was postponed in 2019, will take place from March 20th to the 28th of March 2020. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
And that's our news roundup of events of this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benny Ark.
It gets better, ordered another round. It gets better, ordered another round. It gets
I'm sure, as you can imagine, I get many. On a daily basis, I haven't shared this with anyone, but I reckon I get about like 100 people asking for help. A day? A day. That's a fact. I can prove that. You know, so rather than, you know, going through all my messages, my letters, my emails, my DMs, I decided that, you know, I think it's important as a young person to make sure that I'm making a difference. And it would be almost, you know, I could have started a record label and been used those resources to sign artists, but education for me is so powerful. I would not be here, fact, whether or not, you know, anyone can argue that I would not be here if not for my education.
Nowhere, baby, we no tire. And baby, for the line.
So what is passion? It is when you put an awful lot energy into something than is required to do it. Or you could say passion is ambition that is materialized into action. And in doing that, one puts as much heart, mind, body and soul into something as is possible. In today's episode of Not Your 9 to 5, we feature Karen Ubani, an engineer turned fashion designer. Indeed, her passion for fashion designing is more powerful, so to speak, than being an engineer, and she took the risk to explore this whole new beginning and new journey into the world of fashion designing.
My name is Karen Ubani Ali, and I'm an electrical engineer turned fashion designer. I started my career in MRS Oil as an electrical engineer, after which, because I knew I wanted to go into fashion business, I decided to go into management consulting for about a year and a half in PricewaterhouseCoopers, Nigeria. After which I got a business grant and was able to start my business full-time. In Karen Ubani Apparel, what we do is garment production and fashion e-commerce. However, we opened our first retail store this year on Adeniran Gusanya in Surulere, Lagos. My former job as an engineer, first of all, was basically more of maintenance and electrical wiring. So basically, electrical maintenance of all the electrical equipment at the terminal. It was an oil and gas company, so I used to work from their terminal, the headquarters in Apapa. So it was basically maintenance of all of the electrical equipment, signing off on vendor forms, and supervising contractors, electrical contractors on the site, as well as wiring and all of those things. After then, I now moved into management consulting, which was very, very exciting for me. I like the fact that I had the opportunity to learn how big businesses run. I had the opportunity to assist in writing business plans for big companies, and I saw how these companies were able to translate those business ideas into reality, and I could see how businesses can move from the planning stage to actually the execution stage, and that was beautiful for me. Of the two jobs, I would say I enjoyed management consulting more because I feel like it prepared me for the life I now live, which is running a business. I left my full-time employment, which was very secure, and at the time, actually, I was about to be promoted, but I left my full-time job because I believe in working in an environment where you're passionate about the work that you do. At the time, I joined management consulting because I felt like it was going to give me that steep learning curve I needed to run my own business. And I felt like after about a year and a half, I felt like I had learned enough and it was time for me to move on in my career. Now, even though I did it afraid, I actually did it afraid. I mean, leaving the security of a full-time job where I know I was sure of my leave allowance. I mean, it's not like I knew I was not going to start earning as much as I used to earn then immediately. But I was willing to take the risk because of the love I had for what I wanted to do. For me, it was more like, even though I used to just take my weekends to make clothes for people at the time, and I just had 2 customers, all of a sudden, I started getting a lot of calls from people saying that they wanted to order a dress or a skirt. And of course, because of the responsibilities of my full-time job, I couldn't meet up with their demands. So I just felt like it was time for me to leave. More importantly, I felt like because of the labor demands of